What is up, guys? Thank you for coming out today. This is Tesla's battery day and investment shareholders day. I typically don't talk about Tesla too much, and if I don't talk about them, I get hate, and if I do talk about them, I get hate. So whatever. it's a win-win or lose-lose. And Tesla is here to show us possibly new technology today. Now, Elon Musk's tweet, was it a tweet or was it an email that was leaked? Don't remember. But he said what they're going to talk about, and he says their products are a little bit further out than what a lot of people were expecting. And so it will be interesting to see what is talked about today, how far things are out, what kind of technology they are on the cusp of bringing to the market. So yeah, if you guys can hear me, let me know. I like to make sure all the settings are good beforehand, and I want to make sure you guys can hear the stream. So if you can hear these little pings, that means you should be able to hear the stream once there's audio coming through the countdown. So Zonda, what's up? NT, how's it going? Sultan, how you doing? James, Rob G, what's up, guys? And I know there's a lot more of you in here, so thank you guys for stopping out today. Will this be video and audio? That's the plan. That's the plan. Okay, good. You can hear me. Let's see if I can... If there's anything else I can do here. Because the latency is kind of high right now. I think since I clicked start stream that the latency is a little bit higher than I like. So anyways, guys, it should... The higher the latency, the better the quality of video. So there's a trade-off. So Leo, how you doing? Leo's here. What's up? There are two Leos, I should say. Leo the Short Guy and Leo Nemec. The Waros is here. It says, got a leak from a reliable source confirmed that Tesla developed the hyperdrive. I knew it. I knew it. Should have known this whole time. It doesn't look like my lighting's the greatest, so I think I'm going to go get my additional light. I look a little in the shadows here. Shadows of Mordor. Gundam. Yeah. Speaking of the Gundam t-shirts, they are now coming through on my Teespring link through the channel. So if you watch a video and if you look right below the channel, it'll have my Teespring store. The Gundam videos, or sorry, it's just the Gundam videos, the Gundam t-shirts and hoodies are on there. So am I still moving to Florida? That's the plan. Yeah, well, as far as I know, there's only one car coming in pumpkin spice latte this year. And that's the PMC RDX, guys. That was a lot of fun. That was a video to make. Acura emailed me late last night with that information. And I'm like, let's whip one up real quick. Is the event started? No. As you can see, there's a countdown, about 11 and a half minutes. Yep. Denzel, how you doing? No 86 news other than not spring, late summer, fall for the release, but the unveil is going to be before that. The unveil is going to be my guess could be in the spring. At the LA Auto Show. All the auto shows have been sifted around. It's hard for me to keep track of it, but the LA Auto Show I think is going to be in the springtime. And if everything goes well, I should be able to go to it. So when am I moving? Probably next summer. Earlier if I can, but probably next summer. How did Harry Potter get down a hill? Walking. JK Rowling. Get it. I get it. Took me a second. I'm going to drink some water. Maybe I need another drink. Like a real drink. For me to get those jokes a little bit faster. We got about 10 minutes left. Guys, what do you think? What do you think we're going to see today? What do you think we're going to see? I'll see you guys comment on that. And I'm going to go get... my better lighting system because I feel a little in the shadows right now, Golem style. All right. That's definitely better. So yeah, I'll definitely read my comment. Read the comments on what you guys think we're gonna see today. And remember, we're not gonna really see anything until the second half of this stream, where they're talking about Battery Day. The first half of the stream, guys, just as a reminder, is shareholders meeting or just shareholders update, where they're going to be asking questions, updating us on, I guess, the margins, the profitability, projections, that sort of thing. That will be exciting if you're into that. And then, of course, the technology end of things is going to be the second half. So I'm going to go grab a beer and just relax and chill with you guys as we count down. So. Yeah, get some snacks, guys. We're gonna. This is gonna be a long stream today. All right, let me read some of your David's doodles. He's getting real clever there. He's like, I think we're gonna see some batteries today. Denzel says solid state batteries. I would like to, but I don't think we're gonna see Tesla go solid state batteries for a long time. I just don't think anyone's as close as they would like to be. Although Mercedes, it has one in their buses right now, which is mind-blowing to me. However, it doesn't bring the quick charging that we need, as well as the density that we were expecting. So it's like a half-baked product. And even then, it's still better. It seems still better than traditional lithium ion. So, I mean, there still be improvements to the liquid batteries, but solid state is definitely, if they can do it, it's definitely the way to go. Let's see here. Jeffrey, how you doing? Roadster release dates? Maybe? Buy the hype, sell the news. John says, plaid powertrain. I'd like to see some plaid. You know, after the Lucid Air is announced, that just lays waste. You know, maybe not lays waste, but it's faster. I mean, how fast do you freaking need to go? You can't even use that speed on the streets, guys. That's why we see so many of these videos of like Tesla drag racing, because you can't use that speed on the street. It's not safe, and you know, it's yeah, that's probably the most important thing to say. It's not safe or responsible if you get caught speeding. Doing, you know, 0 to 60s all day in a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone. 600-700 mile range. MPG says, I think we're going to see extremely lightweight batteries. They won't be out for 2 years, but they will enable Cybertruck to be much lighter. That would be amazing if they could do that. So what is the background behind the countdown? It is somewhat of an Easter egg. There's some sort of fibers that's supposed to help with battery capacity. I'm not a battery expert. This isn't, I mean, like I said a long time ago when you guys asked me to stream this, I know a lot about cars, but I'm not like a battery engineer. So it could have something to do with, gosh, what are they putting in there? Carbon? No, gosh, what is it? Graphite. Goodness gracious, graphite. I haven't even seen the word graphite in like 3 months. So it could be something to do with graphite, but we'll see. Graphite's supposed to help a little bit with capacity, but with charging speed as well. We need new power walls. Nanofibers, yes, nanofibers. Carbon nanotubes. So I was right with carbon originally. I'm like, carbon? No. So guys, have mercy on me. I'm not a Tesla only YouTube channel. Actually, this is the first Tesla video I've ever brought to you guys, and I will be covering them from time to time. As you know, my channel, or if you're new here, my channel is largely based on Korean and Japanese autos, but I personally find electrification extremely interesting, so that's why I tend to cover it and branch out a little bit outside my comfort zone on this channel. So carbon nanotubes. If we can have sodium batteries, I mean, that would be amazing. We wouldn't have to destroy the earth as much. Do I like the 2021 Sorento? Oh, yeah, sure. It's all right. Let's get our battery on. It's your crypto pimp's birthday. Happy birthday, brother. Guys, emoji, some birthday cake, some balloons, some confetti over to crypto pimp. It's his birthday. And you got the gift of some pumpkin spice Acura news. He appreciates that. Well, my pleasure, man. Happy birthday. Hopefully I can add to it a little bit more here. I'll try my best not to talk too much during the live stream, but typically you guys invoke a lot of words out of me. So Powerwall price is now discounted. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to announce a new Powerwall. Will I be driving and reviewing cars on this channel? Yeah. Do I still have up my review? Yeah. This is all the work I'm doing right now on my Mazda 6 review. So, yeah, I'm working on reviews right now. This review should be up by the end of probably Friday. Friday, I'm swapping out the Mazda 6 for a Toyota CHR. So, I've bagged on the CHR quite a bit on my channel, so it'll be fun to give it a review. I've actually never driven one before, but you know, it's easy to dog on something when you haven't experienced it, and even easier if you have. Gosh. Going to review the Infiniti QX60 on the this 25th. That's exciting. Yeah, that's their best-selling vehicle. AJ says, "Tuck all you want, but here for your commentary." Thank you, thank you. As you guys know, I get a lot of, and most of you guys enjoy hearing my thoughts, my input. But a lot of people who aren't used to my streams, they'll come in here like, "Shut up! I can't hear the commentary." And most of the time, the commentary is just fluff in these presentations, but at least when it comes to certain brands, Nissan. But we'll see how dense today's meeting is. So less than a minute. Yeah, MBG, I do use DaVinci. What do you think about the Mazda hatchback 2020 with the 2-liter? Crypto help. I don't know if Mazda makes the 2-liter. I don't think they have the 2-liter Mazda 3 hatchback. Wait, do I just have to press play? Here we go. Just to let you guys know, I have no volume on my end, and it's all the way up on the live stream. So there's just no volume coming through. Let me go over to their YouTube stream. See if there's volume coming through there. And I have no volume coming through on their YouTube stream either. So How long is this going to last? My guess is 2 hours. I could be way off, but I'm expecting a 2 hour stream regardless. You know, a lot of like Nissan streams, they're like an hour, and I usually stream for 2 hours just hanging out with you guys. Any updates on when the new IS will arrive? October is what I hear. When am I going to do a review on it? I don't know. I really don't know when I'll be doing a review. And if you guys are just joining, I have no volume. I went over the Tesla YouTube page as well. There's no volume coming from this video quite yet. So, yeah, I guess this is just kind of a manufacturing hype video. But back to IS 2021, I don't know. The sooner the better. Hopefully by the end of the year. 2-liter Mazda 3 coming in 2022. Hybrids 20 miles. Okay. Yeah, there's no volume coming through. Oh, no volume is normal for their streams? Okay, thanks, Danos. Yep, they don't have any volume coming through on this video. Not yet. So, 14 pounds of plutonium could power the Cybertruck new char. Yeah, you just put a nuclear reactor in it. I went to their YouTube channel. So if I click on over to their YouTube channel, there's no volume here either. So Leo's like, they knew Kirk was talking, so they went quiet. Nah. Thanks everyone for coming out today. It'll be fun to see what they have to unveil for us. Elon downplayed it yesterday. So we'll see. I'm still excited regardless. Even if it's 1 to 2 years out, I still feel like what they have is going to be ahead of everyone else. For how long, I don't know. I mean, this EV race is so entertaining for me. And that's why I'm covering it. Yes, I really like Japanese autos, probably the best. And because you guys requested, I'd cover Korean autos as well because they're growing really, really quickly. But I would be living in a bubble if I didn't acknowledge Tesla from time to time. And that's why we're doing the live stream today. You guys wanted to hear about it. Yeah, this is advertising the silence of EVs, guys. That's what this is doing. Where am I streaming from? My studio. This is where I make all my YouTube videos. It's actually a pretty big room, so this is where I edit all my videos. But yeah, I'm streaming from my main rig here. Yep, if you're just new to the stream, there is no volume yet. Tesla hasn't brought any volume over to us. Here, I'm just resizing the image for you guys so we can get as much of the picture as possible. That's pretty good right there. There we go. That's about the entire screen that I can see. What time does it start? Well, they said 3:30, so this is supposed to be the time it's all starting. There we go. Perfect. No sound, you got to sell the stock. Thank you guys for coming out. If you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I typically talk about Japanese and Korean autos, but a lot of my followers have been asking me to cover Battery Day. And like I said, I would have to be living under a rock if I didn't acknowledge or keep up to date with Tesla. I probably keep up to date with Tesla as much as all the Japanese and Korean brands, to be honest. I just don't make videos on them. So until today. And I don't plan on making my channel a Tesla video anytime soon if you guys are worried. I'm still going to focus on Japanese and Korean autos, but yeah, they just don't have any volume yet, guys. You can thank Tesla for that. There's no volume yet. So 21 GV80 or 2016 Cayenne? What? Is that a question? You get the car that's in warranty. I wouldn't trust either of those out of warranty. You get the GV80. Absolutely. Flames to live. I think he's going to be trolling, like you know, Tesla worshippers. Elon is a genius. No sound means more attention to what's on your screen. Every Tesla stock owner finding a logical excuse for every single thing. But no, like, guys, I'm coming in with I'm not pro Tesla. I'm not against them. I'm actually excited for them because they help move the industry forward in a lot of ways. So, William, if it's a waste of time, just you can leave. But hey, the screen changed. The screen changed for a half second. So we're getting somewhere. Cutting into BMW's M3 event. Never sell Tesla if you don't need to. Keep buying. I'm not here to give stock advice. Maybe I'm too young or maybe too old. I don't know what Tesla simps are. What's a Tesla simps? How many Tesla simps are in the audience today? I could put on some futuristic music. Oh gosh, that's a great idea. You got me going now. Here, I'm going to turn down my volume. Actually, I don't think it matters for you guys. There we go. Is that what you guys want? Is this the Tesla music you're expecting? What am I drinking? I picked up I'm a fairly seasonal guy living in the Midwest, so I picked up a pumpkin beer. It's called Shipyard Pumpkinhead. And you see, gosh, I can't even think of his Iggity Bob Crane. Can't even think of his name. Whatever something Crane. Goodness, I'm not a kid anymore. I already forgot something Bob Crane. What's his name? Good. Okay, so the music is on point. Iggity Bob Crane? Is that his? I can't think of his name. I feel like such an idiot. Just like I couldn't think of the carbon nanotubes. Good. Miami Beach, Lori, Hines. Guys, thanks all coming out. We don't have anything coming from Tesla yet. There's no volume, so I'm just playing some of my own music here. Yep. Ichabod Crane. I'm like, Ickety Bob? Ichabod. God. Oh man, it's gonna be a fun stream. Ickety Bob. Oh my gosh. Oh. Yep. Man, guys, if you're a headless horseman, yes, that's what I'm drinking today. Just hanging out with you guys. Yeah, we're just waiting for Tesla to come in. In the meantime, I'm just having a heck of a time. Hey, is the music too loud for you guys? Is it the right volume? I'm gonna turn it a little bit down on my headphones so I can actually hear myself. Am I a shareholder? No, I'm not a shareholder. If I was, I don't think I would share that. Get it? Share it. Oh, Crane is the guy that gets attacked by the horseman? So the headless horseman is not Ichabod Crane. Ichabod Crane. That is not Ichabod Crane. Jeez. Turn the music down. Javon Gueno, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming out. Lower the music? Okay. We're just waiting, guys. Tesla hasn't shared anything yet. How's the volume now? Is it too quiet now? Play some Tiesto? No, I'd probably get flagged for copyright. Why your passion for Japanese and Korean cars? Okay, great question. And I could always make a video on this down the road. I don't really have a passion for Korean cars, to be honest. But I find them extremely interesting, just like Tesla. Don't really have any passion for Tesla, I just find them very interesting. Growing up as a kid, I grew up watching the Fast and the Furious. I grew up playing like Need for Speed, and the coolest cars in those games were Japanese cars. So that started my love for Japanese cars early on. And then I worked for Lexus for years, and I'm like, yeah, they make amazing cars. So that's, I started my YouTube channel kind of when I started working for Lexus, and I would say I'm like a Lexus specialist with my knowledge. I know a lot about Toyota, and then it just kind of flooded over. Silencing the music. It's time. I still don't have any volume. Feels like I'm streaming from 2003 right now because their stream quality is so bad.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Oh, volume. Woo!
Welcome to Tesla's 2020 annual meeting of stockholders. We're really excited that you could be here with us today. My name is Al Prescott. I'm Tesla's Vice President of Legal. There'll be two parts of today's meeting. First, the formal part of the meeting will get out of the way, which will cover the 7 items that stockholders have been asked to vote on. After the voting, I'll introduce Tesla's co-founder and CEO, Elon Musk, who'll give a presentation about the company update and year in review. And then following the conclusion of the stockholder meeting, we'll start our separate Battery Day event. At this time, I'd like to thank the members of the Tesla team and our board, especially those who were able to make it out here in person today, as well as to our representative from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Tesla's independent auditor, who's also here. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to Robin Denholm, the chairwoman of Tesla, who would like to say a few words remotely.
She's remoting in, guys. Give her some time.
Thank you, Al.
There we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Tesla shareholder meeting. A special welcome to the many Tesla shareholders that have joined us today in person, as well as online from across the country and around the globe.
She sounds Aussie to me.
I wanted to start today's proceedings by thanking you, our shareholders, for your tremendous support over the last year, and especially to those of you who have been with us through our journey over the past 10 years since the company's IPO in 2010. While we have stayed true to our mission of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, in many ways, our company has evolved beyond recognition over the past decade, and that is a great thing. In fact, the pace of developments and the evolution of Tesla has further accelerated over the past 15 months since I last addressed you in June of 2019. You'll hear more about many of the specific achievements from Elon later in the agenda, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our Tesla employees across the globe who have done a tremendous job of executing and staying focused on delivering for our customers and shareholders as the world has gone through one of the most challenging periods in our lifetimes. As a board, we have always taken a long-term view. We have made decisions and supported decisions made by the management team that may not have seemed obvious at the time, but are delivering and will continue to deliver breakthrough results. But it's also important to remember why we do this. As a company, we are focused on addressing one of the biggest environmental challenges of our generation: how to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. The last year in particular has seen a tremendous increase in momentum in the movement to sustainable energy from both shareholders and the general public. So in addition to developing amazing clean transportation and energy products, we are doing our part by contributing the right facts and information to this important issue. And we released an extended version of our impact report in April of 2020. In this year's version, we have covered in great detail many areas that are important to our shareholders and our customers alike, such as our environmental impact, greenhouse and other noxious gas elimination, our supply chain efforts, especially in cobalt, and our culture and people focus. We hope that by continuing to put this data out there, we will underscore to the world the importance and impact that we are having as a company. Lastly, continuous feedback and input from our shareholders is essential for us to do our jobs, and I would like to thank you for your support in this regard.
Do I think NIO is going to jump Tesla?
Me and the team with ideas and insights that
Not
we as a
anytime soon, I
board
don't
take
think.
into consideration
So
as
far,
we
it's so bored.
evolve our
But
governance
you have to
and
realize that
company
this is the
practices.
shareholder meeting.
It's
So far, though, it's
especially
been really, really boring.
crucial
There
to
has
the
she
board
hasn't.
members as
It's
we
all
pride
fluff.
ourselves
All fluff so
in
far.
adaptability and the diversity of thought and experience that we collectively represent. on the
Nightman,
board.
it is turned up all the way.
This
I
brings
promise
me to
you,
my
it's maxed
final
out
two
on my
things
end.
today. As today is his last shareholder meeting, on behalf of the board, I would like to sincerely thank Steve Jurvetson for over a decade of service to Tesla, the board, and our shareholders. You will be missed. Finally, I would like to introduce to you our newest member of the board, Hiro Mizuno, who until recently led the largest pension fund in the world. He brings a wealth of experience to the board, but let me hand over to Hiro to say a few words. Hiro.
Thank you, Robin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tesla Annual Shareholders Meeting. It is my real pleasure to virtually meet you, Tesla shareholders.
Nice to meet you.
People who believe in Tesla's mission
She's thinking
and
the shareholders,
its
which
growth
isn't me.
opportunity.
Hello.
I spent all my career in finance and asset management in Tokyo, New York, London, and Silicon Valley. Until recently, I was a chief investment officer of GPIF, $1.5 trillion Japanese public pension fund. And one of my priorities as an investment chief was to promote responsible investments, which aim to make financial returns while pursuing ESG
Guys, we're at
agenda,
93
such
likes.
as
Let's get to 100
environment
at
and
least,
social
for crying out
issues.
loud. There's 1,000 of you in
I
here.
believe in
Just
the market
just
where
say
ESG is becoming mainstream, purpose or mission-driven businesses will gain long-term investor support. This is why I was interested in Tesla, where our mission is to accelerate the world transition to sustainable energy. I'm very excited to join the Tesla team on that journey and hope to assist Tesla deliver what investor expect.
Yeah, what do you think his soup
by
pen
further
is?
enhancing
I mean, the
its
stream quality
environmental and
is
social
so poor
impact.
from their end.
Once again, Tesla shareholders,
looks like a
thanks for
lifesaver
your
to me.
support. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin and Hiro. I will now call the meeting to order.
Thanks for the like, guys.
Please
I
refer to the
appreciate
meeting
it.
agenda that has been provided to you and posted also to our virtual meeting site. The time is now 1:49 p.m. Pacific time, and I declare that the polls are now open. We've already received voting proxies from stockholders over the past few weeks, meaning that almost all of the votes that will be counted were already submitted before the meeting. However, if you wish to vote now or to change your prior vote, you may do so through the virtual meeting site. For those that are here in person today, ballots and ballot boxes were available to you at check-in. Tesla's board of directors has appointed Computershare Trust Company to serve
Model
as
9
inspector of
coming soon.
elections for the meeting. Computershare has taken and signed an oath as inspector of election and has certified that starting on August 13th, 2020, the proxy material or a notice of internet availability of the proxy material were mailed or provided to all Tesla stockholders of record as of July 31, 2020. We have a majority of the outstanding shares represented at the meeting. So I declare that there is now a quorum present and that we may proceed with the meeting. The items on the agenda are as follows. The election of 3 Class 1 directors, Elon Musk, Robin Denholm, and Hiromichi Mizuno, to each serve for a term of 3 years. 2, to approve Tesla's executive compensation on an advisory basis. And 3, to ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers, LLP, as Tesla's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year of 2020. Tesla's board has recommended that our stockholders vote for each of the director nominees and for each of those proposals.
Yep.
In
Guys,
addition,
I
we
warned
have
you,
also
this is going to be
received
boring,
4 stockholder
boring
proposals,
until
as described
battery
in the
day
proxy
starts,
statement.
which is,
I would like to remind our stockholders
I don't know
that
when that's
Tesla's
going to
board
start.
has prepared a
So
statement in
the
opposition
stockholder
to each of
meeting
these
starts
proposals,
first,
which appear in the proxy.
and then
The first
we should be
stockholder
entertained
proposal
after this, but we don't know
is
how
an
long this is
advisory
going to
vote
take.
regarding paid advertising. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote
To me, this is as boring as
stockholder
watching
proposal.
Capitol Hill.
This stockholder proposal comes
So-
to us from James Danforth. However, Mr. Danforth has notified us that neither he nor his representative will be presenting the proposal at the meeting today. So we will continue. The second stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding simple majority voting in our governing documents. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. The proposal comes from James
Esteban.
McRitchie, who is on the line to present the proposal today.
What a strange
Mr.
camera
McRitchie?
angle, yeah.
I would like to invite you now to
And
present.
it's like
You will
moving
have 3
too.
minutes.
What the heck? There's a bunch of cars there. There aren't even people. Well, right, I guess.
I'd like
Oh,
to
they're-
thank the board
the
for
people are
holding
sitting in their
such an
cars.
innovative hybrid meeting during these difficult times.
It's so weird.
Proposal
They're
number
sitting
5
in the cars.
basically asks
If
for a
that doesn't
majority
look like a
voting
cult to
standard
you
in the
guys,
bylaws.
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
first
I've never
introduced
called
the
Tesla a
proposal
cult
on this
before,
subject
but
at the
you guys have been throwing it
2014
around.
Tesla
That looks
meeting.
scary to me. That looks like the
Supermajority
future
provisions
of robotics
generally
taking
used to
over.
entrench incumbent directors and managers.
What the
Academic
heck was
research
that?
finds that reducing such devices is associated with higher returns. The board's opposition statement argues
Thanks,
they
crypto.
tried to adopt a majority standard last year, but shareholders rejected it. However, 99.6%
Stephanie's like, I like watching
of
Capitol
shares
Hill. Thank you very
voted
much.
for the proposal. Only 0.4% voted against it. The problem was that a little more than 35% of shares went unvoted. The vast majority of retail shareholders
Scientology
often
cult
don't
vibes.
bother to vote. Since
Oh,
only
jeez.
65% of shares were voted, we didn't achieve the 66.67% necessary to overturn the current supermajority bylaw. It appears the proposal
That's the
failed
thing.
primarily for 3
You can
reasons.
socially distance.
One,
They
the board
socially
put
distance the
forth less
cars.
than robust
That's the weird
arguments in
thing.
favor.
You could have the cars
2, they
parked
added confusion
this
with
close
another
together,
proposal
and they
to
would still. I mean,
reclassify the board not into
you're
a
safe.
single
I
class,
mean, we all know
that's the
COVID's
norm,
not gonna.
but into
Yeah.
two
Anyways,
classes,
but
elected in alternating years. Third, the board
that's a little creepy.
also
Look how
failed
few
to make
red cars there
substantial
are.
effort to solicit votes in favor. Also, please consider
It's a little
this
creepy,
proposal
guys.
in context with other poor corporate governance provisions at Tesla. First, shareholders can only
Gonzalez
remove directors
Marquez.
for
See you
cause.
later, brother.
What that basically means is the director has to be caught in criminal activity for shareholders to remove them. Second, because the board is divided into 3 classes, shareholders can only hold individual directors accountable every 3 years. And third, shareholders cannot call special meetings, nor can act by written consent. I hope you will agree. Corporations
No,
should
it
not
does
be
make sense
democratic
if they
free
park close
zones.
together. You get more people
Vote
there.
for
The fact that they're all
proposal
sitting
number
in their cars to
so that
socially
33%
distance
of
means
shares cannot
that there aren't that
overrule
many
the
people
wishes
there.
of
They could have 5 times
67%.
the amount of people. They're
Thank
still
you.
legally socially distanced than if they
Thank you,
were
Mr.
not,
McCritchie.
you know, and if they weren't in their
We'll
cars.
now
you
move
know what
on
I'm
to our
saying?
third stockholder proposal, which is an advisory vote regarding reporting on
Just a
employee
question.
arbitrations. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. This proposal
Hive
comes
mind
from NIA
demands
Impact
uniformity.
Capital, whose representative, Kelly Hall, is on the line to present the proposal today. Ms. Hall, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and present. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Dr. Kristen Hull, and I'm the founder and CEO of NIA Impact Capital. I formally move Proposal 6. This resolution requests that Tesla's Board of Directors oversee the preparation of a report on the impact of the use of
They don't want door
mandatory
dings.
arbitration
Good
on
idea.
Tesla's employees and on its workplace culture. The report will evaluate the association of Tesla's current use of arbitration with the prevalence of both harassment and discrimination.
Right, I'm
in the
sure
workplace,
most
and on
Tesla
employees'
stockholders
ability
don't have a
to rebel
Tesla.
should
So
harassment or
let's say you own a
discrimination
gajillion dollars of Tesla stock,
This
don't own a
proposal
Tesla,
speaks
you're
to the
not welcome
widespread
there.
experience
You're
of
not welcome.
discrimination in the workplace by Black, Latinx, and female employees, despite this discrimination being unlawful under the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Tesla has faced a number of serious allegations of racism and sexism at its Buffalo and Fremont plants. Companies that allow bias, discrimination,
Well, the whole
and
stream
harassment
quality is
in their
bad,
workplaces
but they're
are at risk
they're
for
like porting
unnecessary
this
legal, brand,
lady's sound through like the
financial, and human
loudspeaker, so
capital issues.
maybe people can hear it in their cars,
Support
but they're
for
all
this
streaming it on the
resolution
tablet in
warranted
their cars, is
for
my
the following
guess.
5 reasons. 1. Research shows that companies benefit from diverse and inclusive workplaces. 2. Corporate policies that allow harassment and discrimination
Nightman,
risk
there are
investors'
more
capital.
people who don't
3.
own a Tesla.
The
So
use
how
of
do I put this?
arbitration
There are more
exposes
people that
investors
own
to an
Tesla
unknown
stock
level of
than
risk.
own a Tesla. Does that
4.
make sense?
Broad concerns exist with respect to fair treatment in Tesla workplace, and Tesla employees have alleged harassment and discrimination on the basis of both race and gender. Tesla, a company investors love for its innovation, leadership, and wise moat, is
Oh, good
increasingly
point,
lagging
Frosty.
behind its
He
peers
said those aren't
in its
owner cars.
disclosure related to workplace diversity,
Those aren't. That's
equity,
potentially
and
just
inclusion.
employees and a bunch of
Unlike the
Teslas instead of
forward-thinking
actual
and innovation
stockholders.
in its extraordinary
That's a good
product
point.
line, Tesla has not shown proactive leadership in building a positive company culture or in addressing concerns about its workplace practices. In these material issues, Tesla lags behind its technology and automotive competitors. The use of arbitration limits employees' remedies for wrongdoing, precludes employees from suing in court.
That's true.
and
Not a single
often
license
keeps
plate. But in
underlying
California,
facts,
you don't need a front license
misconduct, or
plate.
case outcomes
We haven't seen the back of these
therefore
cars.
preventing employees from learning about and acting on shared concerns. Simply stated, arbitration allows bad corporate behavior, like bias, harassment,
The
and
cars are
discrimination
provided.
to
Yeah,
continue,
that's making more and more
hidden
sense.
from employees and investors. To maintain Tesla's wide moat, it is essential that the board seriously assess
Or-
the implications of the use of arbitration.
Yeah, it could be actual
and that Tesla
stockholders in
begins
there, but that's not their
seriously
car. That's another good
Take
point.
seriously the need to ensure a fair, equitable, positive, and inclusive workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Our fourth and final proposal is an advisory vote
John Anderson. So many
regarding
assumptions. It's fun to
reporting on
assume.
human rights.
It's fun to
Our
assume.
board has recommended that stockholders vote against this proposal. This proposal comes to us from the Sisters of Good Shepherd, New York
Eric
Province,
says,
whose
can you say happy
representative,
birthday
Terrence
to my
Collingsworth,
friend Mike Hawk?
is on
Mike
the line
Hawk, happy
to present
birthday. We got
today.
2 people's birthdays in
Mr.
here.
Collingsworth, I would like to invite you to speak now. You have 3 minutes for your proposal.
Thank you. I'm Terry Collingsworth, Executive
Happy
Director
birthday,
of the
Mike Hawk. I'll have a
International
drink.
Rights Advocates. I'm here representing the Sisters of Good Shepherd, New York Province,
That's a wonderful
to present
name,
Item 7
you
on
know.
human rights
Oh, Mike Hawk.
disclosure,
Such a
which
good
calls
name.
upon Tesla to issue a report to describe board oversight of human rights and its human rights due
Chosen
diligence
Paula, how are you doing?
process, including systems to provide meaningful
You guys.
remedies when human
guys.
rights impacts occur.
Got him.
Tesla faces serious human rights issues, and failure to establish a culture of respect for human rights will expose Tesla to new liability issues and significant reputational injury, all of which will have a material impact on the company and its shareholders. The need to set a new course for human rights compliance at Tesla is glaring. Here are 5 examples of human rights violations occurring now in Tesla's operations. Racism, sexual harassment, and disregard for human safety and dignity harm workers at the Gigafactory 2 in Buffalo, New York every single day, and those workers urge you to remember their experiences in your vote. Tesla has experienced serious labor relations issues at its production facilities and is actively discouraging union organizing.
Chosen
Workers
really
are
wants me to have a
being
Discord
exposed to
server, so
COVID-19
if I
and
get
are
enough people
facing
interested, I'd be happy to
retaliation
fire
when
it
they
back
ask
up,
for
because I used to
greater
have one.
protections. There are numerous worker health and safety violations as well as wage and hour issues. And finally, there are serious, even deadly human rights violations occurring in Tesla's global supply chains.
Ooh.
On this last issue, my organization brought the pending suit against Tesla for using cobalt mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo by young children. I personally met young boys who lost limbs or were paralyzed in cobalt tunnel collapses.
Guys, this is getting
Tesla
spicy
sources
now.
cobalt from these very mines, and it's claimed to have, quote, zero tolerance for child labor in its supplier code of conduct is simply not true. Tesla is not only tolerating child labor in its cobalt supply chain, it is tolerating the death and maiming of young child minors.
Guys, do you hear this
demonstrates
accusation going on?
why the company must circle back and begin a process to report on its treatment
Buffalo's
of human
in New
rights
York,
issues
Peter.
as requested in this proposal. I think consumers will have zero tolerance for a company that is exposed as being indifferent to killing and maiming child minors. We are hopeful that Tesla's innovative spirit can be brought to bear on making human rights a priority at the company. For example, if Elon Musk cared about implementing
California
a
does require a
zero-tolerance
front
child
plate?
labor policy, instead of having a useless paper policy, Tesla could employ satellites or drones at every mine it sources from to actually monitor child labor. I encourage all Tesla shareholders to vote for Item 7, Human Rights Disclosure. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Collinsworth.
Is he gonna
At
say
this
anything
time,
about
I'd like
it?
to thank
Nope,
our stockholders
moving on.
for all of their active participation in today's meeting and for those who just presented on the line.
You just
I'd
swept
also
it
like
aside.
to read some of the comments that have been submitted by you over the course of the meeting. First comment comes from Michael Overbaugh. I take great pride in the fact that we haven't had to stoop to the level of what advertising represents to get where we are today. I'd hate to give in to that kind of temptation now when we're so close to becoming a household name that's based solely on our merit alone. But if assets do end up having to be set aside for marketing, I'd like to suggest that rather than shoving ads down the customers' throats, we establish some sort of hardcore nationwide campaign and event with the goal of getting as many people as possible behind the wheel of a Tesla for an introduction drive. It's well known how far just doing that alone goes to converting people into fans. A line I recently ran across says, "You can talk all about the specs as much as you want, but when it comes to buying a car, what ultimately puts butts in seats is the feeling that the vehicle gives you." By demonstrating that Tesla clearly has both the specs and the feeling, what more needs saying? Our second comment comes from the United Steelworkers on behalf of the Clean Air Now Coalition of Western New York by Sabrina Liu. Proposal, and it reads as follows. Proposals 6 and 7, up for vote this year, are the results of widespread concern about mistreatment of Tesla workers at U.S. factories and across the supply chain. It is clear that Tesla is not interested in addressing the harm they have caused to their workers, as their board is advising shareholders to vote against the proposal. We're urging all shareholders to vote in favor of Proposals 6 and 7, And on behalf of our workers at the United Steelworkers here in Western New York, and for Tesla employees across the country and across the global supply chain, while
You
this
guys
doesn't
have to
repair the
realize
harm that's
cobalt
already
is
been
used for
caused to
everyone's
countless
batteries
employees,
and
nor repair
vehicles that I'm aware of until
harm to
lithium
children
iron
and
phosphate
communities
batteries.
forced into slave labor in the
Tesla's
DRC.
working on those with
They
CATL.
represent
So are a lot of the
steps towards a more
Japanese
just
automakers.
workplace at
So
Tesla.
are the Korean automakers.
This concludes all of the comments.
So,
Thank you all for your participation in the comments. We'll now have a final opportunity for any of you to submit proxies in order for them to be counted. So I'll pause and wait
yeah,
for
but
a
if you
moment
source it
for
from
you to
somewhere
do that.
politically stable, it will cost more. That's the problem. So you go to the cheapest places with no protections of people. That's why all these businesses went to China. You don't have workers' rights or anything like that. It's getting better over
Okay.
there, I think, but
I declare that the polls are now closed. So based on the proxies that we have previously received, I'd like to announce on a preliminary basis that our stockholders have approved the recommendations of Tesla's board on all agenda items, other than the stockholder proposal for an advisory vote regarding simple majority voting in our governing documents. After the final tabulation is completed, we'll formally announce the results of the voting by filing a Form 8K with the SEC within 4 business days of today. This now concludes the official business of Tesla's 2020 annual stockholders meeting, which is now adjourned.
thankfully.
Next, we will have a company update and a year in review presented by Elon, and then we will start our Battery Day event. During the course of those following sessions, we may discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. Such statements are predictions based on our current expectations. Actual events or results could materially differ due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those disclosed in our most recent 10-Q filed with the SEC. These forward-looking statements represent our views as of today. They shouldn't be relied on after today, and we disclaim any obligation to update them after today as well. We will now continue with the company update and year in review. And it's my pleasure to introduce Tesla co-founder and CEO, Mr. Elon Musk.
Bow down, guys. Bow. Oh, look, he came out in a t-shirt. I lost that bet. I said he's going to come out in a suit jacket.
Hey,
Lost
everyone.
that bet. Son of a bee
Well,
sting.
I mean, this is definitely a new approach.
Look at his shirt, the
The
nanotubes.
Tesla
Fiber
drive-in
nanotubes on his
movie
shirt.
theater,
I'm going to
basically.
buy that merch.
All
right, I'll shut up.
It's good
I'll
to
shut
see
up.
everyone.
Good to see you, Elon.
It's a little hard to read the room with everyone being in cars, but it's it's the only way we could do it. So hopefully it's cool, and hopefully you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right, great. All right, well, thanks for coming. I think it's been an incredible year, and I'd like to thank you for your support through tough times, good times. It's been great. Really appreciate everyone who's put their hard-earned money into Tesla, and I think it's worked out pretty well. This has been a good year, and I think there's many good years to come. So I'll go through the sort of the shareholder presentation, I think, fairly quickly, because
you don't
the-
need to
the
go
sort of
over it.
real
We
main
just
event
watched
here
it.
is
We
Battery
just
Day.
watched it.
So, and really, I'm just going through a recap of what's happened over the past year or so. I think starting from in terms of our ability to create a factory, huge kudos to the Tesla Shanghai team for being able to go from literally a dirt pile to volume production in 15 months. It's like
Praises China, the first thing. Praises China.
So, and I think something that's really quite noteworthy here is Tesla is the only foreign manufacturer to have 100% owned factory in China. So this is often not well understood or not appreciated, but to have the only 100% owned foreign factory in China is a really big deal. and it's paying huge dividends here. So we really wouldn't have the results that we have had this year without the great efforts of the Tesla China team. So I'm super appreciative of that. And we'll see the Shanghai factory continue to scale quite a bit from where it is right now. I think we really could expect that to be, over time, a factory that produces over 1 million vehicles a year. Yeah, it's cool. So let's see. So we also reached in the past year volume production of the Model Y, and this was the smoothest launch that we've ever had. So I think we're definitely getting better at new vehicle launches and building factories and scaling production. As you've heard me say before, it's the hardest thing is scaling production, especially of a new technology. It's insanely difficult. Making a prototype is relatively easy, and if I think of like what is the real achievement of Tesla in sort of car company terms, it's like it wasn't making sort of exciting prototypes. It was that Tesla was really the first company in about a century in the U.S., the first U.S. company in the U.S. to reach volume production and be sustainably profitable. Like the crazy thing is this has really not happened in 100 years. That's the actual super hard part. And we now have 4
Goku's
vehicles
in
volume production, S3 XY. So also the toughest joke I think maybe ever. It was a very difficult joke to make. So we also introduced the lowest cost solar in the U.S. It's only $1.49 a watt, and we really just simplified the whole value chain. So reduced sales and advertising, got rid of a bunch of unnecessary costs.
Elon's not good for,
and really,
he's not known for his good
just relying
speaking.
upon the fact that it's just the lowest cost, most efficient solar in the U.S.
If you've seen him on
both retrofit and the solar glass roof, which I think is a really
Joe
great
Rogan's
product, a hard
podcast.
product to make work, but it will be a major product line in the future.
Speaking is not his forte. Engineering is forte.
And we also got 4 consecutive quarters of GAAP profitability, which was very difficult. Yeah. So, and certainly a testament to the hard work of people at Tesla.
Yeah. No, you got exactly. He knows he's not the best at presenting, but he doesn't give a shit. He's like, this is me. This is who I am. I'm going to tell you about my company, all the products we have. It doesn't matter how good at speaking I am,
but we got it done.
I applaud him.
And I think I
applaud him. Now he could improve as a speaker. I don't think he cares to.
From sort of an annual profitability standpoint. So, in order to achieve, in order to sort of do well financially, you really need economies of scale, and you need ideally the best technology. And I think we had the best technology for a while, but now we are also achieving economies of scale. So, and we're also rapidly improving autonomy, which is a massive value add to each car. So, I think the value of Tesla is going to be like total, just on the vehicle side, total vehicles produced times the value of autonomy. That's a way to think about the future value of Tesla. We also have consistent free cash flow generation. This is really important for growth, and a key element here is tightening up the time from when a car is ordered to when it is built and delivered. So for a company that's growing rapidly, it's extremely important to tighten the supply chain and to have from when parts arrive, put it into a car very quickly and deliver the car very quickly to the customer. And if you can do that inside the sort of your kind of payables timeline, then the faster you grow, the more cash you have. Or conversely, if you're unable to do it within your payables timeline, the faster you grow, the less money you will have, which is obviously bad. It's for a capital-intensive situation. So just tightening up and having the parts move very quickly to the factory, put it in a car, get it to a customer, makes a massive difference to cash flow generation. And I mean, that's why it's extremely important to have a factory in each continent. Because if you don't at least have a factory in the continent, it is impossible to achieve this. So having a factory in China that's able to serve China and then soon many other countries in the region, will be key to us.
I agree.
Tightening that
Goku,
that
Goku,
total
I
sort of
agree.
chain of cash
That's
flow
why
and-
I don't
and getting
use
essentially the faster we grow,
scripts
the
that
more
much. I
cash.
use scripts
This is
for my
really
intro,
important.
and then I
That's
wing
also
it
why
from
it's
there in my
important
videos
to have
for the most part.
Giga Berlin complete, because then we'll have a factory in China, factory in the U.S., and soon a second factory in the U.S. in Austin, and a factory in Europe. And I mean, even if for Giga Texas in Austin, even if we had exactly the same costs as in California, it would still be advantageous to do it there because it's roughly 2/3 of the way across the U.S. So in terms of delivering cars to the central U.S. and to the East Coast, it's just faster, costs less, and it fundamentally improves our economics. So I think this is also maybe something that's not fully appreciated of just how important it is to have a factory at least on the continent or reasonably close to where the end customers is, so you can tighten that whole chain. Industry performance. We've while the rest of industry has gone down, Tesla has gone up. And I think this speaks to. Thanks.
Wait. I want that graph to say there.
I'd like to thank all the customers for
percentage-wise in
taking
terms of
Tesla
sales this year.
and buying
I
our
think
product,
that's what that
and
means.
really hope you're
Deliveries in the
enjoying
last
it.
4 quarters. Okay.
This is really, our sales, as Al was saying, really grow by word of mouth. So this is really, I think, a very pure, it's very pure in the sense that it's like, it's growing on the basis of existing
Jeff, I
owners
did not move to
recommending
Florida
it
yet, bro.
to new customers. This is really, I think,
How
a good
many
way to
people
grow.
do you think are sleeping in those Teslas right now?
So, and then in 2019 we had 50% growth, and I think we'll do really pretty well in 2020. Probably somewhere between 30 to 40% growth, despite a lot of very difficult circumstances. I mean, there's so many, pandemic, wildfires. It's like a whole bunch of difficult production issues. But thanks to the hard work of the Tesla team and a lot of innovative approaches to overcoming issues, we're able to still see significant growth in one of the most difficult, in fact, I say probably the most difficult year of Tesla's existence. So, and we also published our extended impact report. At Tesla, we try very hard to do the right thing. If the right thing does not happen, it's just because we maybe made a mistake or weren't aware of it. But we always try to do the right thing as to the best of our ability, and then we published the extended impact report to show, just a sort of a self-examination of, okay, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong?
I have
what
the
can we do
wrong
better in the future?
stream. Jan, really?
We're definitely trying to accomplish the most good, and so, if we occasionally make a mistake, we work quickly to fix it and do the right thing. So. It's worth looking at like the average life cycle emissions in the U.S. And just how much better a Tesla is or an electric car than any other than any kind of gasoline car. And what we'll talk about in the battery day is also just how much the grids around the world and actually especially in the U.S. are greening. It's actually much faster than I think people realize. The U.S. is moving towards sustainable energy. And so as we move in more and more to
Toyota was
sustainable
on that
energy,
graph.
then
They're kind of in the middle.
Effectively, you end up building the solar factories and the
But you also have to realize
car factories
Toyota
with
greatly
solar,
reduced the amount of
over
cars
time
that
you
they
do-
were
or with
producing.
sustainable energy,
So
over
that
time
graph
you
was a
do
little
even mine
misleading
with
because
sustainable energy,
a
and
lot of those
eventually
legacy
it will get to
automakers
an effective emissions of zero.
sharply reduced the
So
production.
that's where-
So therefore they
that's
had
where
less
things will end up.
deliveries.
Yeah. So we also have safety at the core of our design. The Tesla cars are the safest cars ever designed. We have the lowest probability of injury of any cars ever tested by the U.S. government, and that's just passive safety. When you add active safety into that, it's even better. It's really, if safety is important to you, which obviously it is, the safest car you could drive is a Tesla. So, I think some people aren't aware of this, but it's really, safety is paramount. It is actually the #1 design objective when we build a Tesla is safety. Our factories are also becoming safer, and if you look at the sort of accidents per total vehicle made, it's dramatically better than in the past, and it's already better than industry average, and we're confident we can get it to the best in the auto industry.
So wait. I just realized there's chairs there. So he's gonna be sitting
Autopilot
down
functionality continues
and
to
talking.
improve. And you can see it in the safety report that we publish every quarter. It's just getting better and better. The U.S. average for collisions is at roughly 2.1 per million miles, and with autopilot engaged, it's 0.3. I mean, this is a profound difference. It really massive, and this will get even better. So we're confident that over time we can get the probability of an accident, especially the probability of injury, to 10 times better than the industry average, like an order of magnitude better. So that's just a lot of lives saved and a lot of injuries avoided.
Talking is a lot easier than typing.
A huge priority for us. On the autopilot front, I think it's kind of hard for people to judge the progress of autopilot.
Guys, what do you think?
Like I'm driving. I as a matter of course, I've always
Do
done
you
this.
guys
I drive
want
the
autonomy?
bleeding edge alpha build
I'm personally scared of
autopilot.
it. I don't trust
And
it. Even as I get
so I
older,
sort
I'm
of
not
have
going to
insight
trust it
into
anymore.
what is going on.
So
and
I'm not excited to see autonomy.
Previously, about a couple of years ago, we were kind of stuck in a local maximum. So we were improving, but like the improvements kind of started tailing off and just not getting where they needed to be. I call this sort of getting trapped in a local maximum. And so we had to do a fundamental rewrite of the entire autopilot software stack, and all of the labeling software as well. So we're now labeling in 3D video. So this is hugely different from previously where we were labeling essentially a bunch of single images from the 8 cameras, and they would be labeled at different times by different people, and some of the labels you literally can't tell what it is you're labeling. So it basically made it sort of in some cases impossible to label, and the labels had a lot of errors. Now with our new labeling tools, we label it in video. So we actually label entire video segments, and the system. So you get basically a surround video thing to label, and with the surround video and with time. So it's now taking all cameras simultaneously, and looking at how the images change over time and labeling that, and then the sophistication of the neural nets in the car and the overall logic in the car has improved dramatically. I think we'll hopefully release a
Nice
private
guy.
beta
That's not a good
of
way to look at
Autopilot,
humanity.
a full self-driving version of Autopilot in, I think, a month or so, and then people will
Might
really,
as well just kill ourselves if that's
understand just
the
magnitude of
philosophy
the
you have
change.
about
It's
humanity.
profound. So yeah. Anyway, so you'll see it's just like a hell of a step change. But because we had to rewrite everything, labeling software, the entire code base, it took us quite a while, and the sort of new I call it like 4D in the sense that it's 3 dimensions plus time. It's just taken us a while to rewrite everything, and so you'll see what it's like. It's amazing. Yeah, it's just clearly going to work.
It's clearly going to work. It just works.
Yeah, in terms
it just
of
works.
core competencies, we've got
That's
engineering,
NVIDIA's slogan,
obviously.
right? It just works.
Also manufacturing. I think manufacturing is underappreciated in general, and the difficulty of designing the machine that makes the machine is vastly harder than the machine itself. So, the designing, like making a Model 3 or Model Y or Cybertruck prototype is really quite trivial compared to designing the factory that makes it. Especially if it's new technology and you want to use new manufacturing methods, it's just at least 10 to 100 times harder to do the factory than the prototype. And that's why you see a lot of companies out there or startups, they'll bring out a prototype, but they just can't get it over the hump for manufacturing, because manufacturing of new technology especially is the hardest thing by far. Like basically the prototype is at best 10% of the difficulty and probably closer to 1%. And then software. Tesla is both a hardware and a software company. So a huge percentage of our engineers are actually software engineers. And you can think of our car as kind of like a laptop on wheels. And so software is incredibly important. And so not just actually, not just in the car, but also in the factory. So the factory software is extremely important. Just software in general. These are fundamental. These are the 3 critical areas that are needed to make for an awesome company. So, yeah. So we have now we'll soon have 3 new factories, incremental, on. Well, we have one already on 3 different continents. Shanghai. We're expanding to Shanghai with the second phase.
Do the foam
Berlin is making rapid
insulators, sound
progress,
insulators, my wall
and
work?
Texas is making even faster progress. So
to an extent.
Yeah. With each factory, what we're trying to do is also improve the manufacturing technology. So it's in some cases like the Model Y made in Berlin might look the same, but it actually is made in a much more efficient way. And yeah, we'll talk about that later in the battery.
Yeah, most of the legacy automakers are using LiDAR instead of cameras.
Megapack, it's 3 megawatt-hours all-in-one energy storage solution. So it's been great overall. Yeah. All right, and I think that's basically it.
Yeah, this AV team right now is killing.
All right,
it.
thank you.
He's gone. That's it. That's it. All right, guys, great stream.
Well, thanks everyone for coming, and we'll be back in a little bit to go through the battery stuff. And
Thank God,
there's a little
battery
bit more
it's
in addition to the battery stuff. We got a few extras as well. So I think you'll really like what we have to say on batteries. The battery stuff we're going to talk about is truly revolutionary and essential to Tesla's goal. The fundamental good of Tesla. It's like if you look back in history and say what good did Tesla do? The good will be to by how many years did we accelerate sustainable energy? That's like the true metric of success. It matters if sustainable energy happens faster or slower, and so that's really like how I think about Tesla and how we should sort of assess our progress. By how many years did we accelerate sustainable energy?
You don't know.
And
you don't know.
What
That's
we're going to talk about with
hypothetical.
batteries and a few other things will really explain how we're going to make a step change improvement in the acceleration of sustainable energy. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. Oh, this guy. I'm going to go use the restroom.
Hi, folks.
This guy is
that was great.
the worst.
We're going to take a short break before we begin the Battery Day event.
Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't.
If you're
I'm going to
local
go
and here
take
in
a
the
whiz.
audience today, you can feel free to get out of the cars and stretch your legs, but try to stay near the cars because we're going to begin promptly in a little bit. See you soon.
Guys, we're gonna do a little unboxing here. Do a little unboxing. So my tripod got lost in the mail, and I was really excited for it because I was gonna be able to get some new shots. But it got lost in the mail. But what didn't get lost in the mail is what I ordered yesterday. I don't know if you can see this. This ball head mount for the tripod that never arrived. So we're doing a quick unboxing here. Hopefully provides some halftime entertainment for you guys. Oh yeah. Look at this. You guys like that sound? I like that. Okay, so here's my ball head mount. The reason I got this, it's gonna, ooh, that is a fat screw right there. This is gonna allow me to get better sliding shots of the cars I review. So that's the purpose I have it. And man, this thing is heavy. I was not expecting it to be this heavy or this big. That's what she said. So I'm gonna just play around with it as best as I can. I really don't know what's going on. Okay, so this big knob here. Maybe I'll just make my camera a little bit bigger so I'm not like, nope, that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. This big knob here controls the ball head. Put the camera at a 90-degree angle there, facing down. I can do a little slider shot facing down. Big knob again. Gets the big wheel, the big sphere. Ball. There you go. Tied down. Solid now. Now, it's pretty smooth. You see how that's spinning in my hand just slightly? This little screw here is going to control how rapidly it spins on the tripod for a panning shot. This one, I don't know what this one does yet. Let's tie it down. Don't know. I can't. I'll figure out eventually what this knob here does. I don't know what that knob does yet. Now this knob, this is for the quick release plate, so I can easily take my camera on and off. Pretty handy. And then I also have a bubble mount right there to tell me if it's level or not. So pretty cool. Pretty next level ball head mount for the tripod that got lost in the mail. Thanks, Amazon. It got to Omaha 2 days ago, and it never left to the warehouse once it got here. So Amazon Prime, it's amazing when it works, and when it doesn't, it sucks. It sucks. But yeah, thanks guys for coming out today. Can't wait to use this for a video review. Probably for the CHR at this point, because I've got most of the footage already for the Mazda 6 that I'm reviewing right now. I need to get a couple more shots, my driving impressions. I need to get some drone footage of it. Other than that, it's going to be, I mean, it's pretty much done. I just got to finish the editing. So, bottom knob control the stiffness. Well, this is the bottom knob. That controls the stiffness of the panning. Like now I can't even spin it, but I loosen it up, and there it goes. Okay, this one, I don't know. I don't know what this one does. I need to center screw rotation. I don't know. I'll figure it out. There's a dude doing a jumping jack. Yeah, I mean, you gotta stay loose. Elon's about to hit him with some juicy information, so he's staying loose. He's staying nimble. He doesn't want to get knocked out. You know, he's ready to receive the punches. Stiffy knob. This is a stiffy knob, but what is it stiffening? What is it stiffening? Because this is all the way out, like, and it's the same resistance at the bottom for the panning. This one just went out didn't change the panning at the bottom. Amazon Prime 2-day delivery has been very sporadic since pandemic for me. I live in San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, I would say it's been, yeah, a hit or miss as well, but overall it's been still pretty good. But my $200 tripod, tripods aren't cheap if you want a decent one. It got lost in the mail, and I'm pretty sure I don't know what happened to it. It got to Omaha and then it never left the facility, the shipping facility or whatever. Stiffy knob. You guys are all saying stiffy knob. I don't know what it does. Oh, hey, since we don't have music, DJ Kirk's coming back, guys. DJ Kirk, wait for it. All right, let's do this one. Ooh, I like this one. DJ Kirk's back in the house. Mount screw on the bottom stiffness, maybe. You know what it could be? It could be a... Maybe it's a double lock for the ball sphere? Hold on. Let me back out the big ball sphere. Or the sphere... The big... I don't even know what it's called. The ball head. The main screw. If I plug this one in all the way, let's see what happens. Ah! I think it's a double lock because it's much harder to... Let me back this out again. Now it's easier. I think it's just a safety lock. Let me figure it out. There's a guy flossing out there? Damn it, I missed it. I hope you guys aren't asking me to floss. You'd have to pay me some big dollars. I feel like a stripper at that point, but it wouldn't be the first time, you know. We're on halftime. If you're just let me turn this down. We're at halftime right now. We just finished up Investor Day, which other than one dude saying that Tesla needs to figure out a way to source cobalt responsibly or just not use cobalt at all because it's maiming children. Other than that, like, it was extraordinarily boring. Now we are moving into Battery Day now, which should be the entertainment. New technology, new product information, etc. So, all right, DJ Kirk needs to change the song. All right, coming, guys, I'm coming. Let's get this one playing. Roaming Gnome. Oh, thanks, brother. Holy cow. Well, thanks for finding the channel. Hopefully I can provide some information or some entertainment for you. Okay, this is going to be loud. The beat's about to drop. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay. Roaming Gnome. Yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad I'm not boring. That's all I can say. Glad I'm not boring. Floss after so many likes and shares. Can I even see the shares? I can't see any shares, I don't think, but I have 225 likes. That's a good thing. Oh, okay, the camera just cut out. I thought it was a transition phase. Kirk Floss is at 300 likes. This is a shareholder meeting, guys. I feel like we would have to vote on something like that. Dozen rice balls in the house. Nice video this morning. I like how you calling it pumpkin spice. Thanks, man. Speaking of pumpkin spice, shout out to Shipyard Brewery out of New York. Totally not sponsored by them, but I found this at the local brewery here. It's not really a brewery, Spirit World. It's like they have every alcohol you can imagine, and it's 3 blocks away from me, which is kind of dangerous, but. Did I hear some tapping? Oh, shoot. Kirk Floss is at 1,000 or 100,000 subscribers. I could do that. 4 pumpkin beers. I think this is my 4th one. So
hello, everyone.
I'm not flossing yet, brother.
Sure. Thanks, Elon. Oh, hi.
I got
I'm
Per
Drew
Gear.
Bacchino, SVP of Powertrain and Energy Engineering at Tesla. And I'm
It's called
incredibly
Per Gear
excited to
for
talk about
my
what we've been
ball
doing
head.
batteries here at
All right.
Tesla.
Great.
Here we go.
So let's see. You got the clicker?
Yeah, I've got the clicker, yeah.
Okay, let's I'll take it first, perhaps.
Sure.
So obviously the issues we're facing are very serious. With climate change, and we're experiencing these issues on a day-to-day basis. It's incredibly important we accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. Time really matters. This presentation is about accelerating the time to sustainable energy. So the past 5 years were the hottest on record. We have what looks like a wall for CO2 ppm. It's obviously, this time is not like the past. It's really important that we take action. Running this climate experiment is insane. So,
Especially when it's just a transitory one anyway.
yes.
We're going to run out of these fossil fuels. Let's just move to the future and not run this experiment any longer.
Yeah. Talk a bit louder.
You got it.
Okay. So anyway, there is a lot of good news though. A lot of people may not be aware that wind and solar comprise 75% of new electricity capacity in the U.S. this year. So this is a really major.
I do have a Twitter. It's just my name.
The grid is going sustainable very, very quickly. Now, it's also worth noting that the length of time that power plants last is on the order of 25 years. So even if 100% of energy generation was sustainable, it would still take 25 years to convert the grid. And it's also worth noting that in the past 10 years, power production from coal has dropped in half. So it went from 46% of electricity in 2010 to 23% in 2020. So this is a massive improvement. So good things are happening on a lot of levels. We just need to go faster. So in terms of Tesla's contribution, we've delivered over 1 million electric vehicles, 26 billion electric miles driven, and many gigawatt hours of stationary batteries, 17 terawatt hours of solar generated. So I think solar is sometimes underweighted at Tesla, but it is a massive part of our future. The 3 parts of a sustainable energy future are sustainable energy generation, storage, and electric vehicles. So we intend to play a significant role in all 3. So to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, we must produce more EVs that need to be affordable and a lot more energy storage while building factories faster and with far less investment. So goal number 1 is a terawatt-hour scale battery production. So tera is the new giga, and a terawatt is 1,000 times more than a gigawatt. So we used to talk in terms of gigawatts. In the future, we'll be talking in terms of terawatt hours. So this is what's needed in order to transition the world to sustainability.
Yeah, and you can see we're talking about 100x growth in batteries for electric vehicles to achieve this mission. And we are going to get there. It's just a matter of how fast, and our intention is to accelerate it.
Yeah. You basically need on the order of roughly 10 terawatt hours a year of battery production to transition the global fleet of vehicles to electric.
And the average vehicle lasts 15 years, so we're talking about 150 terawatt hours, give or take, to transition the whole all vehicles of all types to electric.
Yeah, so it's a lot of batteries, basically.
What's that going to do to our planet?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
And then on the grid side, we have a similar
the
mountain
Earth is
to
going to
climb.
be destroyed.
1,600 times growth
One
from
way or the
today's
other. It's
grid
either the
batteries
atmosphere
to go 100%
with
renewable on the grid,
noxious
and to take all
emissions
the
and CO2,
existing
or
heating,
we're going to have to dig
fossil
up the
fuel
entire
uses in
Earth
homes
to
and
get all these
businesses,
minerals.
100% electric.
Yeah, and this
Yes,
number,
let's just do nuclear.
I think, might
Just
grow even more,
nuclear power.
as the world economy matures and as
What's
countries
on
with
their
high
shirt
populations
is
industrialize,
the carbon
we can see this
nanotubes that they'll
number
talk about
be
here in
even
a
more.
little
But
sec.
let's
in
say
a
it's
bit.
like roughly
Here, I'll move
20
my-
to
let's see.
25 terawatt hours per year, sustained for
Is that
15 to
better?
25 years to transition the world to renewable. This is a lot.
Is that
Yeah.
better?
So today's batteries cannot scale fast
My
enough.
face is awkward.
They're just too
Just
small.
want to put it in the right spot for you guys.
For Giga Nevada, 150 gigawatt hours per year is like what we probably expect to make out of there. But this is really pretty small in the grand scheme of things. That's only 0.15 terawatt hours. And they cost too much. So
We would need 135 fully built out Nevada gigafactories to achieve 20 terawatt hours a year. It's not scalable enough of a solution. We need a dramatic rethink of the cell manufacturing system to scale as fast as we can and should.
yeah, and I think we should view this as more than just a question of money. Money is sort of like an ethereal thing, but it's really the amount of effort. You have a certain amount of
now I'm on Elon Musk's
of
face.
effort, in terms of people and machines,
know.
and
Where am I
depending
gonna go?
on how
Down here?
efficient that effort
Hold
is, for a given amount of effort, you
that
want
best?
the most amount of batteries. So it's not just a question of like, well, if we had $2 trillion, tomorrow you could make this. It's not
Maybe
that
that's the
easy.
best place for my face.
You actually need to organize a massive number of people, build a lot of machines, build the machines that make the machines, and so it's incredibly important to have that effort yield the most number of batteries. So, and then
Grant's
also,
drinking
obviously,
a
we
40
need to
with
make,
me.
more
Holy
affordable
shit,
cars.
Grant, God bless you, brother.
The
A 40 of what?
one of the things that troubles me the most is that we don't yet have a truly affordable car, and that is something that we will make in the future. But in order to do that, we've got to get the cost of batteries down. We've got to make and we've got to be better at manufacturing, and we need to do something about this curve. The curve of the cost per kilowatt hour of batteries is
Natasha
not
has some wine.
improving
Very
fast enough.
classy, Natasha.
So
Love wine too.
we've given this a lot of thought over many years to say, okay, how can we radically improve the
That
cost per
dotted line
kilowatt
doesn't
hour
go down
curve?
very much. Do you see that?
It's
How
been
little
somewhat
that
flattening out,
dotted line
actually,
goes
in recent
down?
years. So
I mean,
it's-
early growth was promising,
That's
but you
still
can see
not
we're kind of
affordable by
plateauing.
2025.
So that's what's motivating us to rethink how
I
cells
don't
are
know.
produced and designed.
That was not a hopeful
exactly.
graph.
So
Colt
so,
45. Holy
yeah,
shit. That's
EV market
gangsta.
share is growing, but EVs, aren't still inaccessible to all. It's and you can see, as Drew was saying, it's like starting to flatten out a little bit because the rate of improvement of the affordability of cars is just not fast enough. So that's why we got Battery Day.
Yeah. To make the best cars in the world, we design vehicles and factories from the ground up. Next.
Yeah.
And now we do this for batteries as well.
Yeah.
Honk at.
It's weird, the
Every
slides
time they
don't
say
show
the
up.
word battery, take a shot, aka honk your
What
horn.
shows up on the screen is not quite what shows up there. It's different.
Yeah, I think it's because that's.
No, that one's current, supposed to be current. Anyway.
So let's get started.
Technical difficulties.
We have a plan to halve the cost per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And it's not a plan that rests on a single innovation, some research project that'll never see the light of day. It's a plan that has taken creative engineering and industrialization across every facet of what makes a cell into a battery pack, from raw material to the finished thing. And we're going to go through that plan with you today, step by step, and build up how we get to these goals and how we accelerate this transition and make our vehicles and our grid batteries more affordable.
Yeah. I mean, we basically thought through every element of the battery, well, almost every element. There are a few more elements that we won't get to today, but we will get to in the future.
Yes. So first, before we get too far into it, let's talk about what is in a battery cell. We've got the cap and the can, negative and positive terminals of the cell.
Eric
When
Tate
you
has
open
some
that
chicken
cell,
salad. Oh,
you've
yummy.
got a tab connected to those terminals, what we call the jelly roll, which is the wound electrodes on the inside. You can actually see what this looks like as you unwind it. This is over 1 meter long in a typical 2170 cell. So it's quite a long winding process. And you can see the tab still there. And then, to explain what's actually going on here, we've identified we've got anode, cathode, separator, positive and negative terminal. Watch what happens as we, there we go, discharge the cell. Got lithium moving from anode to cathode, and then the reverse. When we charge the cell, anode moving from lithium moving from cathode to anode across the separator. This is the basic of what makes all lithium-ion batteries, whether they're no matter what the form factor is. And when we look at what's happened to date, at least in our products, we've moved from the 18650 form factor to the 2170 form factor through great collaboration with our partners, Panasonic, new partners like LG and CATL, and probably others in the future.
Actually, so a slight note on why is the one called the 18650, although not on the slide, versus the 2170, is that the first two digits refer to the diameter, and the second two digits refer to the length. So that helps explain why are these weird. What's up with these weird numbers? But like nobody could explain to me why there was an extra zero. So like, okay, well, we're deleting the zero that nobody can explain in future form factors. So that's why it's technically it's like the 18650 bizarrely. But going forward, it's the 2170 because we just got rid of the extra zero because it's pointless.
And this was a evolutionary step, going from 1865 to 2170, bringing 50% more energy into the cell. But when we look
Andrew's back.
to
Thanks for
the
coming
ideal cell design, if we were to do it ourselves, we need to go beyond just what we're looking at us in front of us, and study the full spectrum of options. So as you can see, we kind of swept the key figures of merit, how much we can reduce the cost, and how much vehicle range increases as we change the outer diameter of the cell. We found a sweet spot somewhere around 46 millimeters. But it's not just about a bigger form factor. Like, anybody could make a bigger form factor.
Any fool could make a bigger form factor. We not any fool.
Yeah, exactly. There are problems as you make cells larger. In fact, supercharging and thermals in general become really challenging as you make bigger cells. And this was the challenge that our team set our sights on to overcome. And we did. We came up with this tabless architecture that maybe you've heard about, that basically removes the thermal problem from the equation and allows us to go to the absolute lowest cost form factor and the simplest manufacturing process. And this is what we mean when we talk about tabless.
Oh shit!
It's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's what these T-shirts mean, but it's very esoteric. It's like nobody could figure it out. But
yeah, we basically took the existing foils, laser patterned them, and enabled dozens of connections into the active material through this shingled spiral you can see.
So it's not
with
carbon
simpler
nanotubes.
manufacturing, fewer
We're all
parts,
wrong.
50 millimeter versus 250 millimeter electrical path length, which is how we get all the thermal benefits.
Yeah, this is important to appreciate. Like basically the distance that electron has to travel, it's just much less. So you actually have a shorter path length in a large tabless cell than you have in the smaller cell with tabs. This is a big deal. So even though the cell is bigger, it actually has more power. The power to weight ratio is actually better than the smaller cell with tabs. This is again, like this is quite hard to do. So it's nobody's done it before.
It does look like a log.
And it really took a
astute
tremendous amount of effort
observation.
within Tesla engineering to figure out how do we make a freaking tabless cell and have it actually work and then connect that to the top cap. And it's there's a whole bunch of things that we're keeping a little secret sauce here that we're not telling everything. But
sometimes what's elegant and simple is still hard, and it took us a lot of trials, but we're happy where we ended up.
Yeah, I mean everything's simple in recollection. After you simple, everything it's hard until it's discovered, and then it's simple. So anyway, but there's a lot of really cool things going on that enable tabless, and it's really due to a really great engineering team. Drew and the rest of the team have done amazing work in achieving this tabless construction. And it sounds, I think it may sort of sound a bit silly to some people, but this is like, for people that really know cells, this is a massive breakthrough.
For cylindricals to be able to get rid of the tabs dramatically simplifies winding and coating.
Yeah.
And has an awesome thermal and performance benefit.
Yeah, that's just to elaborate on that a bit. It's like when the cell is going through the system, it has to keep stopping where all the tabs are.
Yes.
So you can't do continuous motion production if you have tabs. You have to keep stopping, and then there's a rate at which you can start and stop and accelerate again, and it really slows down the rate of production. And then sometimes you get the tabs wrong, and you also lose a little bit of active area. It's really a huge pain in the ass to have tabs.
Yes. From a do some math real quick.
Yes.
Plus 16% range.
And so when we put it all together and go to our new 80 millimeter length, 4680, we call this new cell design, we get 5 times the energy with 6 times the power and enable 16% range increase, just form factor alone.
Yeah. So
best case scenario.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Best case scenario, that gets the Model 3 to 373 miles
plus
of range.
16% or whatever the percentage range increases, these are the amounts due just to that particular innovation.
Yes.
So we'll list a whole bunch of
correct.
innovations, and then when you add them up, you
So
get
just
a total
from the battery innovation
improvement
itself,
in, energy density and cost.
we're at 373.
These numbers are what refer to just this thing.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, and I want to stress, this is not just a concept or a rendering. We are starting to ramp up manufacturing of these cells at our pilot 10 gigawatt hour production facility just around the corner.
Yeah. So.
Ooh, we got some music from them?
It's a video of some of what's going on in the plant.
See you, Romy Gnome. Thanks for coming out.
Now, I mean, to be clear, it will take about a year to reach the 10 gigawatt hour capacity. So this is important to appreciate. Like when you build a factory, there's a certain capacity that you design to, and then it takes some period of time to actually achieve that capacity. So I would say it's probably about a year before we get to the 10 gigawatt hour annualized rate with the pilot plant. And this is just a pilot plant. The actual production plants will be more on the order of maybe 200 gigawatt hours, maybe more over time.
And
but did MPG, did they mention about, did they mention anything about
but
weight
let's
reduction?
stack up everything we just saw at the cell level.
All they said was
just the cell
power
form factor
increase,
change
efficiency.
enables a 14% dollar per kilowatt hour reduction, just that cell form factor change. And now that you've been teased on this factory, we're going to go on and walk step by step through that factory and discuss a series of innovations there. When thinking about the ideal cell factory, we have inspirations behind us in the paper and bottling industry, where from humble beginnings, over a century of innovation has enabled mass scale, continuous motion, unbelievably low manufacturing cost. And when we think about the lithium ion industry, which is really only in its 3rd decade of high volume production, it has so far to go to achieve similar scale and simplicity. And that was the inspiration that we set out to the team as we thought about how to marry cell design and manufacturing in the best possible factory. And let's talk a little bit about what's in a cell factory. First, there's an electrode process where the active materials are coated into films onto foils. Then those coated foils are wound in the winding process we just talked about. Where if
Albert,
you do have
I know
paths,
my
you have to
stream,
start and
every
stop a
stream,
lot.
every live stream out there is
then
delayed.
The jelly roll is assembled into the can, sealed, filled with electrolyte, and then sent to formation, where the cell is charged for the first time, and where the sort of the electrochemistry is set and the quality of the cell is verified. And we set out at every step of this process to try to take that inspiration we just showed and think
No, the
about how we make
Cybertruck's
those
range
processes
incorporated
fundamentally better
all of
and more
these
scalable.
improvements and efficiency.
One of the most important processes
Don't
is
add
where it
on
all
to that
begins,
efficiency. They
the
knew
wet
about these
process
gains
of the
before.
electrode coating. And just to give you all a
I
sense
could be
of
wrong,
scale,
but I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to walk through what's in that wet process. You've got mixing, where the powders are mixed with either a water or a solvents for the cathode. That mix then goes into a large coat and dry oven, where the slurry is coated onto the foil. Huge ovens, tens of meters long, dried, and that solvent then has to be recovered. You can see the solvent recovery system. And then finally, the coated foil is compressed
MPG, we don't
to
know
the
that for
final
sure,
density.
though.
And when you're looking at this, you're like, wow, that's a lot of equipment for one step, especially when you consider that little speck next to the coating oven is a person. This is serious iron involved in making batteries. Wouldn't it be great if we could skip that solvent step, which is one of those dig a ditch and then fill it kind of things, where you put the solvent in and then take it out and recycle it, and just go straight to
EcoLodge, that's not it. They said they have other
And that's
improvements
what
that
the
they're
dry
going to talk
process
about,
really is
but we'll
about.
see what that is.
And in the most basic form, you can see it here on a bench top. Literally, powder into film. As simple as that.
I mean, it's hard, actually, just to be clear. If this was easy, everyone would do it. So it's not like dry coating electrode is actually easy. It's actually very hard to do what appears to be a simple thing. And it's worth noting, like,
Thanks,
we
Goku.
did acquire Maxwell
Appreciate it.
like a little over a year ago, I guess. It's certainly a good company and everything, but the dry coating they had was like, it's like sort of, I would call proof of concept. Since the acquisition, we've actually revved the machine that does dry coating 4 times. So we're in revision 4 post-acquisition of the machine, and there's still a lot of work to do. So I would not say this is like completely in the bag. There's still a lot of work to do, and as you go from like benchtop to lab to
They got some
pilot to volume production,
crazy
there are
various
actually
B-roll
major
here. I
issues
think
that
that's
you encounter
a
at every
20th
level.
time
It's not
we've
like
seen this.
you make something work on your bench and bingo, now you can make a bazillion of it.
Absolutely.
It's insanely difficult to scale up.
Yeah,
yeah.
But if you do scale it up,
Yeah.
what you saw before becomes this.
Yeah.
So you can see the motivation. A 10 times reduction in footprint, a 10 times reduction in energy, and a massive reduction in investment. But as Elon was saying, simple is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, to be clear, I would like to not say that right now it's just totally working. It's close to working, but it's not even now at the pilot plant level. It is close to working. Well, I can
close
fair
to
say
working.
probably it does work, but with not a high yield.
Yeah.
So
we're still ironing out the kinks, but we've made tens of thousands of cells, thousands of kilometers. of
Toyota has
electrode.
a solid-state battery that's close
so
to
we've learned
working.
a lot along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it is super demanding because every atom has its place if you want to deliver the energy density and the cycle life and the supercharging.
Yeah.
But we're confident that we will get there, but it will be a lot of work along the way.
There's a clear path to success, but a ton of work between here and there.
Yep.
So, but this is a really profound improvement. Again, for people that know battery manufacturing, this is gigantic. We'll probably be on machine revision 6 or 7 by the time we do large-scale production. The rate at which the machines are being improved is extremely rapid. Like literally every 3 or 4 months is a new rev.
Yeah, and beyond the electrode, we continue to innovate on every other process step. So let's talk a little bit about assembly, which is next. The key to
Andrew.
a high-performing assembly line is accomplishing processes while in motion, continuous motion, and thinking of the line as a highway, max velocity down the highway, no start and stop, no city driving.
Exactly. No stoplights and traffic lights or anything. You want the highway.
I want the highway.
Yeah.
And together with our internal design team that makes this equipment and designs this equipment, we coupled thinking about how to make the best cell with thinking about how to make the best equipment so that we could accomplish the fastest parts per minute rates on all of these tools. And through all of that development, we were able to get to the point where we can implement assembly lines, one line, 20 gigawatt hours, 7 times increase in output per line. And when you're thinking about scalability and pure effort, having one line be 7x the capability is just effort multiplying.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you can sort of think about like the sort of the fundamental physics of a factory or something like. I think it's actually quite a lot like the rocket equation, where you've got basically in the rocket equation you've got your exhaust velocity and then the log of the start to end masses. So it's basically saying, you know, how fast are things going and what percentage of the factory volume is doing useful work. And conveyance does not count as useful work. So
only the value-added steps.
Yeah, if you break the factory down into cubic meter sections, and say, or smaller, it could be like 1 liter sections, and say, is a majority of this volume doing useful work? You would be astounded at how bad most factories are. They're like maybe 2 or 3%, including our factory in Fremont. So I think it is possible to get to at least 10 times that volumetric efficiency. So more like 30% ish, maybe more, and be 10x better, which means the factory can be 10 times smaller. And then the other thing is how fast are things going through the factory? It's like speed and density. The faster you go, like if a factory that's moving, let's say twice the speed of another factory is equivalent to two factories, basically. And the company that will be successful is the company that with one factory can accomplish what other companies take 2 or 3 or 4 factories to do. So this is what we're trying to do here is say, okay, how do we with one factory achieve what maybe 5 or even 10 factories would normally be required to achieve?
And the vertical integration with the machine design
they're Bill Gates'
teams
company, right? And they're working with Volkswagen
and Hybar and others.
Oh, you did say they're
allows
working
us
for
to
Volkswagen, yeah.
really accomplish that because we don't have all these edge conditions between one piece of equipment and another. We can design the entire machine to be one machine and remove all of these unnecessary steps.
Yeah, I mean, basically Tesla is aiming to be the best at manufacturing of any company on Earth. This is the thing that's actually most important in the long run. I think, just from a company standpoint and from basically achieving sustainability as fast as possible. But I think also for long-term competitiveness, eventually every car company will have long-range electric cars. Eventually every company will have autonomy. I think, but not every company will be great at manufacturing. Tesla will be absolutely head and shoulders above anyone else in manufacturing. That is our goal.
Manufacturing is hard, and hard problems are fun to solve. Okay, now let's talk about formation. In a typical cell factory, formation represents 25% of the investment.
Nikola's essentially.
And what is formation?
I don't think
it's charging and discharging cells.
It's like $2 billion too. Nikola's just.
Turns out we've charged and discharged billions and billions of cells in our vehicles, so we know a thing or two about that.
Trevor, whatever.
The typical formation setup is you charge and discharge each cell individually. In our car, we charge thousands of cells at once. And we took our principle and our power electronics, leveraging Powerwall, vehicle battery management systems, and others, to dramatically improve the formation equipment cost effectiveness and density. 86% reduction in formation investment, 75% reduction in footprint.
So I hope we hear about Cybertruck.
So essentially, what this translates to, based on what we know today, is about a 75% reduction in the investment per kilowatt hour or gigawatt hour. It's just basically 4 times better than the current state of the art to the best of our knowledge. And I think there's probably room to improve even beyond that.
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Diego, thanks, man. Have a good night.
we're able to, from a volume standpoint, actually get what in a smaller form factor than Giga Nevada, we were able to get many times the cell output. So you can see, like, basically we can get a terawatt hour in less space than it took to make a gigawatt hour. 150 gigawatt hours. So this is pretty profound. It's like I would actually not have thought this was possible several years ago. That we could actually get to terawatt hour scale in less space than what we currently envision for doing 150 gigawatt hours.
Yes, simpler accelerates terawatt hour scale, and that's what we need to do to accelerate our mission. And as Elon said, we're going to try to even improve on this as we push towards our goals, which are.
Yeah. So this is just for. This is just talking about Tesla internal cell production. As I tweeted out earlier, we will continue to use our cell suppliers, Panasonic and LG and CATL. And so this is 100 gigawatt hours.
Wait,
supplemental to.
Did I just hear that? He didn't even say
suppliers.
Panasonic.
Yeah, essentially, this does like reduce our weighted average cost.
Did I miss
of a cell
something?
Because
he just said LG and CATL. I didn't hear him say Panasonic.
Storage. And then long term, we're expecting to make on the order of 3,000 gigawatt hours or 3 terawatt hours per year.
It was rumored that Tesla and Panasonic had some falling out. Maybe Panasonic's like, screw you guys, I'm going to produce batteries for my brother in Japan.
By 2030.
When you look at the size of that factory on the previous page, it really shows how enabling all of these advancements are in achieving a 3 terawatt hour goal by 2030. And not only is all of that manufacturing innovation fantastic for enabling scale, it's also an additional 18% reduction in dollar.
Oh, he did say
kilowatt hour
Panasonic.
at the
Okay,
battery pack
I
level.
missed it.
But wait, there's more.
I missed it. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So we have a manufacturing system. We've got a cell design.
He said
What
Panasonic.
are the active materials we're going to
Good.
put in that cell design?
I was going to
Let's
say,
talk about
shit,
the
we get
anode
real
first.
crazy if he didn't mention
Let's
Panasonic.
talk about silicon.
I don't know how I missed
Why
it. Why
is silicon awesome? It's awesome because it's the most abundant element
Thanks,
in
guys.
the Earth's crust after oxygen, which means it's everywhere. It's sand.
Yeah. Sand is silicon dioxide.
Yeah. And it happens to store 9 times more lithium than graphite, which is the typical anode material in lithium-ion batteries today. So why isn't everybody using it? The main reason is because the challenge with silicon is that it expands 4x when fully charged with lithium. And basically all of that expansion stress on the particles start cracking, they start electrically isolating, you lose capacity, the energy retention of the battery starts to fade, and it also gums up with a passivation layer that has to keep reforming as the particles expand.
Yeah, basically with silicon, the cookie crumbles and gets gooey. That's basically what happens.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
And current approaches to solve this, which exist, I mean, we have silicon in the cars that you're all in right now, are involved highly engineered, expensive materials in the scheme of things. Now, they're still great, and they enable some of the benefits of silicon. They just don't enable all of it, and they're not scalable enough. And you can see some of the things that maybe you've heard of, SiO, silicon with carbon, or silicon nanowires. I mean, that's kind of the space right now. What we're proposing is a step change in capability and a step change in cost. And what that really is to just go to the raw metallurgical silicon itself. Don't engineer the base metal. Just start with that and design for it to expand in how you think of the particle in the electrode design and how you code it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw this. Basically, $1 per kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
Basically, if you use simple silicon, it's dramatically less than even the silicon that is currently used in the batteries that are made today, and you can use a lot more of it.
The anode would cost, with this silicon, and the anode costs $1.20 a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And how does it work? Start with raw metallurgical silicon, stabilize the surface with an elastic ion conducting polymer coating that is applied through a very scalable approach. No like chemical vapor deposition, no highly engineered high capex solutions, and then integrated into the electrode through a robust network formed out of a highly elastic binder. And in the end, by leveraging this silicon to its potential, we can increase the range of our vehicles by an additional 20%, just this improvement.
Yeah, it gets cheaper and longer range.
Yeah, and when we take that anode cost reduction, we're looking at another 5% dollar per kilowatt hour reduction at the battery pack level. And there's more. Let's talk about cathodes. What is a battery cathode? Cathodes are like bookshelves where the metal, you know, the nickel, the cobalt, the manganese, or aluminum is like the shelf, and the lithium is the book. And really, what sets apart these different metals is how many books of lithium they can fit on the shelves and how sturdy the shelves are. Cobalt is a...
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, like, it's tough to exactly figure out what the right analogy is to explain cathode and anode, but a bookshelf is probably a pretty good one, in the sense that you need a stable structure to contain the ions. So you want a structure that does not crumble or get gooey, or basically that holds its shape in both the cathode and the anode. As you're moving these ions back and forth, it needs to retain its structure. So if it doesn't retain its structure, then you lose cycle life and your battery capacity drops very quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think people are always talking about, like, oh, what's the cathode going to be? Is it NCA or whatever, you know? The thing to consider is just fundamentally what the nickel...
No, that's the
metals
cost
are capable
reduction,
of.
And
That's
that's
what we
not
have on the chart
range.
here.
That's not efficiency
dollar per
or
kilowatt hour
range.
cathode of just the metal,
No.
using just LME, you know, London Metal Exchange prices, versus the energy density of just the cathode. And you can see nickel is the cheapest and the highest energy density, and that's why increasing nickel is a goal of ours and really everybody's in the energy in the battery industry. But one of the reasons why cobalt is even used at all is because it is a very stable bookshelf. And the challenge with going to pure nickel is stabilizing that bookshelf with only nickel. And that's what we've been working on with our high nickel cathode development, which has zero cobalt in it. Leveraging novel coatings and dopants, we can get a 15% reduction in cathode dollar per kilowatt hour.
Yeah. Big deal.
But it's not just about nickel. You want to?
Yeah, sure. So in order to scale, we really need to make sure that we're not constrained by total nickel availability. I actually spoke with the CEOs of the biggest mining companies in the world and said, please make more nickel. It's very important. And so I think they are going to make more nickel. But there's also, I think we need to have a kind of a three-tiered approach to batteries.
The Tesla sold in China already
with
have
iron,
zero
that's
nickel
kind of like a
in
medium
them.
range,
Sorry, zero cobalt.
and then nickel manganese,
They have the
that's sort of
LFP
a
batteries.
medium plus,
Excuse me.
intermediate, and then a high nickel for
But
long-range
they
applications
don't have a lot of
like
energy
Cybertruck
density.
and the semi. Something like a semi-truck, it's extremely important to have high energy density in order to get long range. So, and just to give sort of iron a bit more time, like although if you look at the watt-hours per kilogram at the cathode level of iron, it looks like nickel's twice as good. But when you fully considered at the pack level, everything else taken into account, nickel is about maybe 50 or 60% better than iron. So iron is not.
What is that car?
A little better than it would seem.
What is the car we're
when
looking at right
you look
now?
at it at the pack level fully considered. It's not as good as nickel. Nickel is like 50 to 60%
like
better. But it's actually pretty good.
Elongated hatchback.
And so,
thing.
good for stationary storage and for medium range applications where energy density is not paramount. And then, like I said, for intermediate, it's kind of a nickel manganese.
Ugly. And particularly, you don't
relatively
think any of the
straightforward
Teslas
to
are that
do
great. I think the
a
Model
cathode
S is
that's,
probably the best looking one. But
2/3 nickel, 1/3 manganese, which would then allow us to make 50% more cell volume with the same amount of nickel.
And with very little energy trade-off. I mean,
Yeah.
Just enough to have you still want to use 100% nickel for something like a semi-truck, but really not much of a sacrifice at all.
Yeah.
And, beyond the metals, because a lot of people spend time talking about the metals, actually the cathode process itself is a big target. 35% of the cathode dollar per kilowatt hour is just in transferring it into its final form.
the one on
And
the
so we
left
see
is
that as a
nickel.
big target, and we decided to take that on.
35% nickel.
Here's a view of the traditional cathode process. Effectively, if you start at the left and you have the metal from the mine, the first thing that happens is the metal from the mine is changed into an intermediate thing called a metal sulfate, because that's just happened to be what chemists wanted a long time ago. And then when you're making the cathode, you have to take this intermediate thing called metal sulfate, add chemicals, add a whole bunch of water, a whole bunch of stuff happens in the middle, and at the end, you get that little bit of cathode and a whole bunch of wastewater and byproducts.
Cathode production.
Yeah, it's insanely complicated. If you look at the total, like if you're just like, you know, it's a small world journey of I am a nickel atom. What happens to me? And it's crazy. Like you're going around the world 3 times. There's like the moral equivalent of like dig in the ditch, fill in the ditch, and dig in the ditch again. It's total madness, basically. And these things just grew up as they're just kind of like legacy things that it's like how it was done before. And then they connected the dots, but really didn't think of the whole thing from like a first principle standpoint, saying how do we get from the nickel ore in the ground to the finished nickel product for a battery. And so we've looked at the entire value chain and said, how can we make this as simple as possible?
And that's what we're proposing here with our process. As you can see, a whole lot less is going on here. We get rid of the intermediate, metal, water, final product cathode, recirculate the water, no wastewater at all. And when you summarize all of that, it's to 66% reduction in CapEx investment, a 76% reduction in process cost, and 0 wastewater. Much more scalable solution.
Yeah.
And then when you think about the fact that now we're actually just directly consuming the raw metal nickel powder, it dramatically simplifies the metal refining part of the whole process. So we can eliminate billions in battery grade nickel intermediate production. It's not needed at all.
Yeah.
And we can also use that same process we showed on the previous page to directly consume the metal powder coming out of recycled electric vehicle and grid storage batteries. So this process enables both simpler mining and simpler recycling. And now that we have this process, obviously we're going to go and start building our own cathode facility in North America and leveraging all of the North American resources that exist for nickel and lithium. And just doing that, just localizing our cathode supply chain and production, we can reduce miles traveled by all the materials that end up in the cathode by 80%, which is huge for cost.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, cathode production would be part of the Tesla cell production plant. So it would just be, basically, raw materials coming from the mine, and from raw materials in the mine, out comes a battery.
And on that note, the way the lithium ends up in the cell is through the cathode, so then we should obviously on-site lithium conversion as well, which is what we will do using a new process that we're going to pioneer. That's a sulfate-free process again, skip the intermediate. 33% reduction in lithium cost, 100% electric facility co-located with the cathode plant.
Yeah. So it's important to note that there is a massive amount of lithium on Earth. So lithium is not like oil. There's a massive amount of it pretty much everywhere. In fact, there's enough.
Is there not a ton of oil out there
States
too?
Just
saying,
there's
United
a States
ton of oil out there.
electric.
There's still a ton
like
of oil.
All the cars in the United States, there's like 300 million or something like that. Every vehicle in the United States can be converted to electric using only lithium that is available in the United States.
Discovered today.
What we already know is exists.
People really haven't even been looking.
Yeah, people haven't been trying because it's just like widely available. So, but it is important to say, like, okay, what is the smartest way to take the ore and extract the lithium and do so in an environmentally friendly way? And we actually discovered again, looking at a sort of first principles physics standpoint, instead of just the way it's always been done, is we found that we can actually use table salt, sodium chloride, to basically extract the lithium from the ore. This is, nobody's done this before, to the best of my knowledge. Nobody's done this, and it's a sort of, all the elements are reusable. It's a very sustainable way of obtaining lithium, and we actually we actually got rights to a lithium clay deposit in Nevada.
Over 10,000 acres.
Over 10,000 acres. And then the nature of the mining is actually, I think, also very environmentally sensitive in that we sort of take a chunk of dirt out of the ground, or remove the lithium and then put the chunk of dirt back where it was. So it will look pretty much the same as before, and it will not look like terrible. And yeah, it'll be nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So
Simply mix clay with salt, put it in water, salt comes out with the lithium, done. I
yeah,
mean,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So we're really excited about this, and there really is enough lithium in Nevada alone to electrify the entire U.S. fleet.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, just what's in Nevada. That's basically there's so much damn lithium on Earth. It's crazy. It's one of the most common elements on the planet.
And eventually, as we said at the beginning, when we get to this steady state 20 terawatt hours per year of production, we will transfer the entire non-renewable fleet of both power plants, home heating and battery and industry heating and vehicles to electric. And at that point, we have an awesome resource in those batteries to recycle to make new batteries. So we don't need to do any more mining at that point. And you can see why.
Yeah.
The difference in the value of the material coming back from the vehicle versus the ground, you'd always go to the vehicle. And we recycle 100% of our vehicle batteries today. And actually, we are starting our pilot full-scale recycling production at Gigafactory Reno next quarter to continue to develop this process as our recycling returns grow.
Yeah, I mean, to date it's been done by third parties, but we think we can recycle the batteries more effectively, especially since we know our batteries, we're making the same battery as the thing we're recycling. So whereas like third-party recyclers have to consider batteries of all kinds.
Yeah, and just to think about what this actually means, the recycling resource is always 10 or greater years delayed because batteries last a really long time. But eventually, it is the way that all resources will be made available, and that's why we're investing in this recycling facility in Nevada.
Yeah.
Good.
Long-term,
I want to hear about
new
recycling.
batteries will come from old batteries.
It's probably the
once
thing that
fleet
made me
reaches
the
steady
happiest
state.
about all this so far.
Okay, so we just talked about scaling cathode and recycling. All of the benefits
Will I ever show
that
you my
just saw
desktop
are
setup?
added to this benefit of a 12%
If I ever
reduction
clean my
in
desk,
dollars per
maybe.
kilowatt hour at the battery pack
I
level.
don't know. It's nothing
Almost
special.
at our half the cost goal, but there's one more section. Take it away, Elon.
Great. So there's an architecture that we've been wanting to do at Tesla for a long time, and we finally figured it out. And I think it's the way that all electric cars in the future will ultimately be made. It's the right way to do things. So it starts with having a single piece casting, or a single piece casting for the front body and the rear body. And in order to do this, we commissioned the largest casting machine that has ever been made, and it's currently working just over the road at our Fremont plant. We have the it's pretty sweet. Making the currently making the entire rear section of the car as a single piece.
I've heard about this, but I haven't seen it in action.
And in order to do this, we actually had to develop our own alloy because we wanted a high-strength casting alloy that did not require coatings or heat treatment. This is a big deal for castings, especially with a large casting. If you heat treat it afterwards, it tends to deform. It kind of like does this like potato chip thing. So it's very hard to keep a large casting to have its shape. So in order to achieve this, there was no alloy that existed that could do this. So we developed our own alloy, a special alloy of aluminum that has high strength without heat treat and is very castable. So that's a great achievement of our materials team. In fact, in general, we've got a lot of advanced materials coming for Tesla, new alloys and materials that have never existed before. So you're basically making the front and rear of the car as a single piece, and then that then interfaces to what we call the structural battery, where the battery for the first time will have dual use. The battery will both have the use as an energy device and as structure. This is absolutely the way things are done. In the early days of aircraft, they would carry the fuel tanks as cargo. So the fuel tanks actually were quite difficult to carry. They were like basically worse than cargo. You had to kind of bolt them down. It was very difficult. And then somebody said, "Hey, what if we just make the wing tanks? What if we just make the fuel tank in wing shape?" So all modern airplanes, the fuel tank your wing is just a fuel tank in wing shape. This is absolutely the way to do it. And then the fuel tank serves as dual structure, and it's no longer cargo. It's fundamental to the structure of the aircraft. This was a major breakthrough. We're doing the same for cars. So this is really quite profound. Effectively, the non-cell portion of the battery has negative mass. So we save so much mass in the rest of the vehicle.
Mass? Is that
We
black
save
matter?
more mass in the rest of the vehicle than the non-cell
Black
portion
matter?
of the battery. So it's like, well, how do you really minimize the mass of a battery? Make it negative. Make the battery non-cell portion of the battery pack negative. So
I don't know if that's the best way to say it.
it also allows us to pack the cells more densely because we do not have intermediate structure in the battery pack. So instead of having these like supports and stabilizers and stringers and structural elements in the battery, we now have a lot more space in the battery because the pack itself is structural. What we do is essentially, instead of having just a filler that is a flame retardant, which is currently what is in the 3NY battery packs, we have a filler that is a structural adhesive, as well as flame retardant. So it effectively glues the cells to the top and bottom sheet. And this allows you to do shear transfer between the upper and lower sheet. Just like if you have like a Formula One craft or like a racing boat, and you have carbon fiber face sheets and say aluminum honeycomb between them, this gives you incredible stiffness. And it's really the way that any super fast thing works is you create basically a honeycomb sandwich with two face sheets. This is actually even better than what aircraft do, because aircraft do not do this.
There's a lot.
They can't
a
do
lot
this
of
because fuel is
stuff to
liquid.
digest
So
here.
in our case, the batteries are solid, so we can actually use the steel shell case of the battery to transfer shear from the upper and lower face sheet, which makes for an incredibly stiff structure, even stiffer than a regular car.
Yeah.
In fact, if this was a convertible that had no upper structure, it would be stiffer than that convertible would be stiffer than a regular car. So it's just really really major.
I think what
so
he's trying to say there is that it might not be as stiff as the current battery packs, but it's still stiffer than the average
the structural
car.
battery pack in a very smooth, continuous way. So you don't.
I think that's what they're
put,
trying to say
arbitrary
there,
point
without
loads into the
making it
battery.
sound less safe than their
so
current
you
cars.
you want to sort of feather the load out from the front and rear into the structural battery. It also allows us to use.
But it is lighter.
To
So
move
that's a
the
trade-off. Maybe not
cells,
quite as
closer to the center of
hard
the,
and
of the car.
stiff. That's what she said.
Because we don't
in
have
the battery
the
pack
the,
for the
in
safety.
the top one, we've got that sort of all
but
the
it's still
supports
safer
and stuff.
than
So
your average
the
car.
volumetric efficiency of the structural pack
And
is much better than a
there you go, like
non-structural
you said.
pack. And we can actually bring the cells
You
closer to the
get
center.
more range because you don't have to
and,
worry about the
because they're closer
addition
to the
of
center,
structure in there.
It reduces the
because the
probability
batteries are there.
of a side impact potentially contacting the cells, because it has to go, any kind of side impact has to go further in order to reach the cells. It also improves what's called the polar moment of inertia, which is that you can think of like when there's ice skater, arms out or arms in. Arms in, you rotate faster.
So
So
14%
if you can,
increase
bring things closer to the
opportunity. So
center,
best
you
case
reduce
scenario.
the polar moment of
Okay,
inertia,
write that
and
down.
that means the car maneuvers better. It just feels better. You don't know why, but it just feels more agile. So it's really cool. This is really major. Like I said, so 10% mass reduction in the body of the car, 14% range increase, 370 fewer parts.
That's
So,
cool. All right, let me get the.
I mean, I really think that long term, in any cars that do not take this architecture will not be competitive.
And it's not just at the product level a better product, but in the factory, it's a massive simplification. You saw the part removal.
This is kind of rough math
You know,
here.
it's casting machines. It's the structural battery pack. So we're looking at over 50% reduction in investment per gigawatt hour.
So
35%
best case
reduction in
scenario
floor space, and we'll
with
continue to
the
improve that as we make the
additions we've
vehicle factory
seen
of the future.
today,
Yeah. So
with the
major
restructuring of the
improvements
battery,
on all fronts,
that they
from
don't
the
need
cell
the
all the way
traditional
to the vehicle.
layout structure.
And
Like, I
in
don't know
addition to
best
the
way say
improvements
it.
we just said on
The
enabling
negative
additional
mass, you don't
range
have
and
to have
improving
that
the
negative
structural
mass in
performance
that
of the
battery
vehicle,
pack
it
anymore.
is worth
Plus the
another
battery
7%
efficiency
dollar per kilowatt hour
is about
reduction at the
a
battery pack level,
30%
bringing our total
increase.
reductions now
So that
to
gets you about
$56 per kilowatt hour.
25 miles.
Yeah.
All right, so stacking it up, we're not just talking about
Now this is rough.
cost
This is
or
very
range.
rough.
We've
This
got
is
to look at
not
all the facets.
gospel.
So
But Model 3,
range
based
increase, we're
off this,
unlocking
could
up
get
to
over 400.
54% increase in range for our vehicles.
Oh, here we go. 54%.
And energy density for our energy
Shit.
products. 56% reduction in dollars per kilowatt hour at the battery pack level, and a 69% reduction in investment per gigawatt hour, which is the true enabler when we talk back about how do we achieve this scale problem here.
Yeah. And yeah, so
So best case scenario,
I think it's pretty nice that investment
495
per gigawatt hour
miles on a
reduction
Model
is
3
69%. I mean, who would have
with a
thought?
54% increase.
Just happened to happen out that way.
Who knows when that'll happen? But the
I mean,
the
0.420%
dollars per
of
kilowatt
course.
hour is probably the most important thing here, guys. I mean, they're all important. They're all important metrics. So.
Yeah. So what this enables us to do is achieve a new trajectory in the reduction of.
I was bagging on that
cell
graph
cost.
earlier.
And
I'm like, that
now,
doesn't
to
look
be
very
fair,
promising.
It will take us probably a year to 18 months to start realizing these advantages, and probably to fully
18
realize the
months
advantages,
minimum.
probably it's about 3 years or thereabouts.
Okay, so you're not going to get that
you
almost
know,
500-mile
not like,
range until 3
if
or
we could
4
do this
years from
instantly,
now.
we would. But it's really I think what this bodes for, it just really bodes well for the future, and means that the long-term scaling of Tesla and the sustainable energy products that we make will be massively increased. So you know, what tends to happen as companies get bigger is things tend to slow down. Well, actually, they're going to speed up.
And they have to speed up if we're going to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy.
Yeah, I mean, long term, we want to try to replace about at least 1% of the total vehicle fleet on Earth, which is about 2 billion vehicles. So long term, we want to try to make about 20 million vehicles a year.
But I think it's important to point out that when we talked about 3 terawatt hours by 2030, the problem is a 20 terawatt hour problem. So everybody needs to be accelerating their efforts to accomplish these objectives. Doesn't matter where you are in the value chain, there is a ton to do. You need to rethink from first principles how you do it so that you can scale to meet all of our objectives.
Yep.
And Elon?
Sure.
What does this mean?
What does it mean for what does this mean for our future products? We're confident that long term we can design and manufacture a compelling $25,000 electric vehicle.
With what kind of range, though?
This has always been our dream from the beginning of the company. I even wrote a blog piece about it.
That's what they need. They need a $25,000 vehicle.
Our first car was an expensive sports car, and then it was like slightly less expensive sedan, and then finally sort of a, I don't know, mass market premium, but like the Model 3 and Model Y. But it was always our goal to try to make an affordable electric car, and I think probably, like I said, about 3 years from now, we're confident we can make a very compelling $25,000 electric vehicle that's also fully autonomous.
And when you think about the $25,000 price point, you have to consider how much less expensive it is to own an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
So actually, it becomes even more affordable at that
$29,000 made in China.
Yeah. So we have and extreme performance and range, and we should probably talk about the Model S Plaid. What about that?
Oh, thank you. Let's get some excitement. Oh, shoot, so fast. 0 to 60 under 2 seconds. What? 200 miles an hour. Hey, that's Laguna Seca right there. That's like my favorite race course. Quarter mile under 9 seconds. What is happening? What's happening to my life? That's so fast. But
yeah,
is it like available? Like, tell me more.
Yeah. Anyway, we took the latest plat out to Laguna Seca on Sunday. It got a minute 30, and we think probably there's another
So
3 seconds
fast.
or more to take off that time. So we're confident the Model S Plaid will achieve the best
1100
track time
horsepower.
of any production vehicle ever, of any kind, two-door or otherwise.
Guys,
And you can order it now, and it's
you can order it now.
available basically end of next year. So, and
End of
now we'll move
2021.
to Q&A.
Absolutely.
So we'll
Holy
invite a
cow.
few people on stage.
We didn't hear anything about Cybertruck.
Come on up, team.
We didn't hear anything about the Roadster.
This
Overheats
is just a
after
small
one lap.
portion of the team, but it would be
It's a
great
different
to
story. Different
show you
story.
some more of the team, and when we do Q&A, we can give various people different questions to answer.
Sounds great. Actually, I don't know how we're getting the questions.
Actually, I don't know either. Okay, well, you could just you can maybe get out of the car for 2 seconds and yell it at us. I don't know. Hey,
Will
how do we
run
get any questions?
crisis.
Oh, they're mics. Okay, wait for the
Oh,
mic.
there are mics. Okay, great.
All right.
Okay, we'll definitely need to give people mics because otherwise there's no way. Sorry? Okay. All right, we're going to pass some mics out. We don't have a name for the $25,000 car yet.
It's a great question, though.
Because it's not real. I won't believe it till I see it. It could be 3 or 4 years, 5 years from now. $25,000 Tesla.
Yes, we will be manufacturing cells in Berlin. Yep.
Thermal management system? For homes.
Oh, you
Super
mean like the
Saiyan
home
mode?
HVAC?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's a pet project I'd love to get going on. I don't know, maybe we'll start working on that next year. Because I just think you could
Yeah,
really
people are
make a
just
way
shouting
better
out
home
questions
HVAC
from the
system
cars.
that's really quiet and super efficient and super energy efficient, and also has like a way better filter for particles, and and it works very reliably. And we've already developed that for the car. Like, so the heat pump in the Model Y is really pretty spectacular. I mean, it's tiny, it's efficient, it has to last for 15 years. It's got to work in all kinds of conditions, from the coldest winter to the hottest summer. So we've actually already done a massive amount of the work necessary for a really kick-ass home HVAC. And they could also stack them. So if you want
Not gonna lie.
say, depending upon the size of your house or whatever, how much you need, you can just basically
better
stack
than
them.
the most recent
and,
Nissan live stream.
Just have a very compelling, super efficient
The
home
400Z
HVAC,
one
and then you
was
can
a
also
snooze fest.
communicate with the car, and it'll know when you're coming home.
Model
so
S
it's like,
Plaid,
I don't need to keep the house cold all day. I
PLAID.
just cool it down because I knew you were coming home. So the pack can communicate with the car and just really dial it into when you actually need cooling and heating. It'd be great.
Fun product.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Hello. Hey guys, Eli here from Tesla Owners Club, My Tesla Adventure. Just quick question. So I'm a huge fan of car camping in my Tesla with my dream case, like my all-time favorite activity. Is it going to be possible to get climate control to the back of the Cybertruck? Because that would be the ultimate camping machine if we can get all-night climate control.
We'll try to do that. Yeah. I agree. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Hello. Long-time fan, great guy. Just a question: how does the ICE industry look like for in the future?
Well, I
How
don't
far
think there
in the
will be an
future?
ICE industry long term.
Yeah, how far into the industry?
Yeah.
How far into the future are we
I mean,
talking?
well, I guess there might be a few things that are it's a curious thing. There's still some steam engines made somewhere, but they're just basically sort of quirky collector's items. I mean, that will be the future of the internal combustion engine car.
Hi, Elon, to your left here in the white Model Y. Ryan
These
McCaffrey
honkings
from
are so
from the
stupid.
Ride the Lightning Tesla podcast. Curious about Cybertruck. It was interesting to see where you had it in on the battery technology front. I'm sort of curious what you see for it in the production front. Is its volume, trucks are so popular in America, do you see its volume equaling the 3 or the Y in the future? And also, is the were you able to get Tesla is able to legally be sold in Texas as part of the Giga Texas deal?
Well, it's hard to say what the volume exactly would be for the Cybertruck. The orders are gigantic, so and we have like, I don't know, well over 500,000 orders. I think maybe 600,000. That's a lot, basically. We stopped counting.
Yeah, but what? It's $100 for an order, right?
I think there's probably room for, I don't know, at least like a unit volume of like 250 to 300,000 a year, maybe more. Now we are designing the Cybertruck to meet the American spec, because if you try to design a car to meet the global, the superset of all global requirements, it basically, you can't make the Cybertruck. It's impossible. It really is designed for the American market, but this is the biggest market. Our North American market is the biggest market for pickup trucks by far, or large pickup trucks. And then I think for, we'll probably make an international version of the Cybertruck that'll be kind of smaller, kind of like a Type Wolverine package.
What?
It'll still be cooler, but it'll be smaller, because you just can't make a giant truck like that for most markets.
Don't you have 5 kids, Andrew?
So, yeah, but it's gonna be great.
How old are your grandparents?
And I don't know. I think probably we'll be able to sell directly in Texas. We do pretty well right now.
You guys.
But it is a bit weird not being able to actually conclude a transaction in Texas. But it's got to be like, a click on a server based in California. So, but weirdly, we can do leasing in Texas, but not selling. But hopefully that'll get cleared up in the future.
Elon, great job with everything that you're doing. Thras Gerber from Gerber Kawasaki. Your team's amazing. What I'm most curious about, these innovations are incredible, but on my drive up here, fully on autopilot for 400 miles, the entire state is brown. And this is ultimately about climate. Has there been some analysis done if all these things are achieved? What will its direct impact be on climate?
No one will have any idea. Climate's always changing, regardless of people.
I think it will have a very significant impact, because it will stop the CO2 ppm from growing as it is every year. And I mean, I should say, like, I try to view the whole climate thing for, as a science question as much as possible. Science, you always question your hypothesis. Is it true? Is it not true? Or assign a probability to a given hypothesis. And I should say that my original interest in electric vehicles predates the climate issue. Like, just when I was in high school, it's like, I thought, man, if we don't figure out electric cars, the whole economy is going to collapse when we run out of oil. So it's like, we better figure out electric cars and sustainable energy, or civilization is going to crumble. And then it was only kind of later that the significance of the climate risk became apparent. We were also able.
No, I said climate is changing, regardless if people here or
a
not.
lot more fossil fuels than previously thought.
That is me not. That's me saying climate change is in fact
helpful
happening.
for lowering the cost of gasoline, but it's pretty bad for the total tonnage of CO2 that you could put in the atmosphere. It's now greatly beyond what people previously thought. So, but this is, as we were just going through this presentation, it's like it is a absolutely monumental task to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. I mean, the entire global economy is still, more than 99% dependent on, or roughly 99% dependent on fossil fuels. So although electric cars kind of get a lot of press right now, they're still, and there's still very few, as a percentage of the total global fleet, is practically nothing. I would say, yes, less than 1% of the global fleet is electric right now. Because of 2 billion cars and trucks and whatnot in use. So there's a massive amount of work ahead, just insane, like hard to comprehend how much work is ahead to get the new vehicle production to be sustainable.
Yes, it's quite possibly that the methane that the cows produce is far worse than the atmosphere than the CO2 from cars.
It's intermittent. Sometimes the wind doesn't blow, and this obviously sun doesn't shine at night. So you got to have batteries. a massive, massive number of batteries. So
it's hard to measure in direct impact, but it's an experiment that we shouldn't be performing. And the sooner we can sort of end the experiment, the sooner we can kind of move on in a fully sustainable way that is actually lower cost. I mean, I think the thing that people haven't fully internalized is once we do get to the 25K car, the ownership cost of that car is incredibly lower than the prior car. And then on the solar side and wind, with the cost of solar and wind coming down and with batteries coming down with them, the actual cost of energy on the grid is going down. So we're sort of moving towards a sustainable, lower cost future. So there's not really a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's true. It is a false dichotomy to say that it's either prosperity or sustainability. This is often used, by oil and gas to say like, oh, well, do you want people to lose their jobs? Do you want lower people's standards of living? Do you want to, make all these economic sacrifices, really, in order to have sustainability? And the reality, as Drew was saying, is that a sustainable energy is going to be lower cost, not higher cost, than fossil fuels.
Elon, quick question for you, right here in front. First, thanks for having everyone, and as telling a friend, the one company to go work for that's going to have the biggest structural impact over the next 10 years at scale, it's probably Tesla. So kudos to everyone at Tesla for what they've done to this point and going forward. The two questions for you, as you've looked at the auto and the storage markets, I know you've talked about it at kind of 50-50 long term, but it seems like a lot of the battery cost curve achievements that you've presented today really make some of these storage opportunities much more feasible over the next 5 years. And so I guess the first part of the question is, does your calculus upon learning and improving these things change on that 50-50 mix, or is there a role where storage becomes bigger? And then the second part of the question, with all these huge grand visions, who's going to be with Tesla from a corporate perspective accomplishing these things? Obviously, Tesla can't do it alone, but when you look at some of the traditional auto industry or power, et cetera, I don't see a lot of other Teslas.
Well, actually, so there's a lot of companies in China that I think are doing great work with electric vehicles and also with stationary storage. Although we don't see that much in the U.S. yet, but I think probably we will in the future. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're doing everything we can to encourage other companies to move to sustainable transport and also, make stationary storage batteries.
We don't know who's in those cars.
Made our patents freely available.
The people who are in those cars don't own those cars.
We really try to tell these companies, hey, you really need to do this or you won't exist in the future. But they don't believe it, So, I mean, we've talked until we're blue in the face. What are we supposed to do? But we really are hopeful that other companies will also do what we're doing, and that will make a sustainable future come sooner.
From a fundamental market size perspective, like we did the first ground up work to show the size of the market in terawatt hours, and they are roughly 50-50. 10 terawatt hours for transportation, 10 terawatt hours for the grid. And part of that is because the grid batteries, because when you're making a power plant, you're making a large investment, are 25-year assets or greater. If the grid batteries were 10-year kind of things, the grid market would be bigger, but because it's a longer duration asset, they're roughly the same size.
Thinking long term, is there any other segments that this new battery will be able to disrupt or electrify beyond just the initial Model 2 or cheaper sedan, like a boat, boring company loop, plane, boat?
Where are you, Golly?
Are you there? What's up? Right here.
Okay, great.
It's
like ventriloquism here, It's like we just get the sound out of the speaker and you can't tell where the heck it's coming from.
Yeah, any hints, or is the Model 2 such a big deal because it decreases the cost of transportation?
That's the Galley guy. He's got a YouTube channel.
Should we get hyped that this new cost curve opens up different vehicle
it's like their biggest zealot,
like a high passenger
one of their biggest zealots.
Boring loop, boat, plane?
Well, I mean, there are batteries in limited production right now that do exceed 400 watt-hours per kilogram, which I think is about the number you need for decent range.
I actually
I
think I'm subscribed to Galley's channel. Every once in a while I enjoy his stuff.
I think our batteries will, over time, start to approach the 400 watt-hours per kilogram range as well. Yeah, I mean, I think over time, we'll see all modes of transport, with the ironic exception of rockets, transition to sustainability, or to electric, basically. On the rocket front, what we're planning to do is like about 80% of Starship is liquid oxygen, and we're actually already running a power line to be able to use wind power to create the liquid oxygen. So we're making some decent progress on sustainability on the rocket front, but there's just no way to have an electric rocket, and it's important for the future of life and consciousness that we become a multi-planet species. So got to keep doing that.
Hi, Elon.
Hello.
Josh Phillips here, retail investor. I have a question in regards to the lithium and nickel industries and the likely price spikes and shortages of high-grade materials the EV industry is likely to see if they don't act fast to address future supply. Tesla have clearly made the right moves that are necessary, but there's a real worry that the potential supply issues and price spikes will create a drag on the rest of the EV industry and therefore a drag on global EV adoption. What advice would you give to the EV and mining industries to quickly solve this looming hurdles? Because for a sustainable energy future, the spice must flow. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed, the spice must flow. The new spice. I don't know. I think I'm not sure. I guess what we can try to basically overdo it in cell production and perhaps supply cells to others. But we do see the fundamental constraint as total cell production. That's why we're putting so much effort into making cells and kind of trying to reinvent every aspect of cell production from mining the ore to a complete battery pack. Because it's the fundamental constraint. We're not getting into the cell business because we, just for the hell of it. It's because it's the fundamental constraint. It's the thing that is the limiting factor for rapid growth. But we could certainly try to overdo it on cell production and perhaps sell cells to others. Although we are going at absolute top speed, so it's not like we're holding it back. But I think just making really efficient cars and that have low drag coefficient, low rolling resistance, efficient powertrains. I mean that's kind of what we've done in order to make iron phosphate still have a good range. So the iron phosphate's lower energy density solution, but there's while there are some limitations on the total amount of nickel produced every year, there's really no limit on the iron. There's so much iron, it's ridiculous. So you can really scale up iron phosphate, at a raw materials basis faster, more than you can nickel. But yeah.
And just to point out, when we were walking through this presentation, we intentionally separated all the different aspects. The benefits of structural battery apply to a iron-based cathode in the same way they apply to a nickel-based cathode. Yeah. So you get longer range iron-based vehicles, and also the silicon benefit can apply to the iron-based vehicles as well. So we can do a lot to extend the range of an iron-based vehicle, which is why it's a key part of the roadmap going forward. And then I invited Turner up here to talk about what the mining industry can do.
Yeah. Diversification on the cathode side is obviously massive, and EVs are all about efficiency. And so for the EV industry, for the vehicle industry, we need to see powertrain efficiency really increase at all other companies matching Tesla powertrain efficiency so that everyone can have that diversified cathode approach where LFP is used in medium range and even really make a 300-mile vehicle with LFP. And really the goal that we were trying to present here was a model for vertical integration, strategic vertical integration that a lot of different people can do. What we need to see is vertical integration that shortens the process path from mine to cathode. And what we're doing here is novel, and we're trying to push the industry in that direction. So we're presenting a model here that anyone can follow.
Yeah, in fact, if there's anything that you guys want to comment on, feel free to step forward and say something.
I think the key is to be smart about your chemistry choices, your materials choices.
Talk louder.
Yeah, if you're smart about your materials choices, the spice will continue to flow.
Yeah.
You don't need to use the same
More spice
kind
references.
everywhere. And it's about strategically planning it out. And for miners, I think we are incentivizing them quite a bit to ramp up their production.
Yeah, and actually we had good calls. Like they're all motivated. I think that they've been sort of sitting back, being like, "Are you going to grow like crazy?" And we're
Oh,
like,
shoot,
"Yeah, we're going to
chat's
grow like
heating up.
crazy." And then I think this
Battery
indicates we're
electric
gonna grow
or
like crazy, and
hydrogen.
that's what
It's
the
heating
miners
up,
want to hear,
guys.
and then they'll go make the investments.
Hello, Elon. This is Ben Limpick. I'm a musician. I was wondering, does Tesla have any future plans to make partnerships with music companies like it has done with 10-cent games or things like that for you guys to actually kind of expand your services for artists and other types of creative people to get involved in, producing content that can be part of the Tesla ecosystem, or so other people that do creative things can get involved with you guys?
Well, we don't.
Oh, thanks, El Tao.
We haven't really thought about that much, but
Thanks,
I
brother.
suppose it's probably something we should think about.
No, you can still watch this and not
We will be providing
be
title,
interested in battery electric
on,
vehicles.
Teslas.
Like I,
So we're providing music,
know,
more music sources.
if there's a
that people
live
can
stream
choose
on
from,
hydrogen vehicles,
and just
do you know how
generally
many
trying to improve
people
the entertainment
that hate
experience in the
hydrogen
cars.
and are all
And I
battery
think
electric and
actually,
still watch it?
as we
There'll
go
be
to a
tons.
more autonomous future, the importance of entertainment and productivity will become greater and greater. I mean, to the degree that if you're just basically sitting in your car, the car is fully autonomous and driving somewhere. It's sort of like being the car is essentially your chauffeur, and then the things that become important are, okay, well, let's have good entertainment, and if you want to do some productivity stuff, then that actually starts to become much more important because you're no longer spending your attention driving the car. So it will be extremely important in the future.
Should we do some of the say.com questions? Okay.
All right, guys, I'm going to use the restroom. Enjoy. I'll be back.
Should we do the second one?
Yeah. The first one I think we already answered. Like if we're able to make enough cells, which we'll try to do, or we will supply other companies. It's definitely not an intentional effort to keep the cells to ourselves. If we can make enough for other companies, we will supply them. And we're trying to do the right thing for advancing the sustainable energy, whatever that is. So vehicle to grid, we get asked that a lot. I think one of the things that's important to note is the vehicle to grid. It doesn't, unless you have a power cutoff. Like you need to cut off your main supply to the grid. Otherwise, if you lose the power in your house, you'll basically just backflow energy to the grid. So just having a reversal in the power flow does not actually keep the lights on. You need a whole separate system to cut off power to the grid. And I think there's also the case that people really want the freedom to be able to drive and to charge at their house. And it's obviously really problematic if you get to morning and your car, instead of being charged, it discharged into the house, and then you're sort of, okay, now I can either drive or use the battery to power my house. I think it's actually going to be better for people's freedom of action to have a power wall and a car separate, and then it's everything works. And you add that, you basically combine that with solar, either solar retrofit or solar glass roof, and local battery storage. So you basically become your own utility, and then the car is can be charged also with solar. I think that's like the stuff that works. That said, like we can certainly do vehicle to grid. And I think we can basically enable that with software in Europe or something, right?
Yeah. We are future generations of power electronics. We will be able to do this more or less everywhere from a energy market participation perspective. But yeah, from a backing up the house, and it just so happens that the way the North American connectors are on all the cars in North America,
Romy
doesn't
Gnome's
matter whether
back
it's
from
the
his
Tesla
beer
connector
trip.
or the connector
The
that the other vehicles have,
BWRUN.
doesn't actually support powering your home. It's unfortunate. So you need an additional hardware to do that. But yeah, in the future, all versions of our vehicles will be able to at least do bidirectional power flow for the purposes of energy market participation. But even for that, it's important to remember that your car isn't plugged in 24/7. So it's kind of an unpredictable resource for the grid. It'll have a value, but it's not the same as a stationary battery pack.
Yeah, honestly, a vehicle to grid sounds good, but I think actually has a much lower utility than people think. I think very few people would actually use vehicle to grid, and we actually had with the original Roadster, we had vehicle to grid capabilities. Nobody used it.
How do we find the engineers to do everything we're saying?
Thanks,
How do we
brother.
find
Thanks
the
for
engineers to do all these
subscribing.
things? I guess we recruit a lot of engineers from all parts of the world. I think Tesla has a good reputation for doing exciting engineering, and that tends to attract a lot of the top engineers in the world, because they know that their efforts at Tesla will really serve the greater good, and we're super hardcore about engineering. Tesla is like first and foremost an engineering company. It's like hardcore engineering is what we do. Like the sheer amount of hardcore engineering done at Tesla is insane. And if you look at, say, there's various surveys done of engineering schools, where do you want to go? Like, what's your top choices? And actually, the top two choices last few years have been Tesla and SpaceX. So sometimes it's Tesla first, sometimes SpaceX first, but those are the two top ones.
Yeah, I mean, if you are motivated to solve some of these problems, which are the hardest problems in the world to solve, that really fundamentally enable the future we all need, please reach out.
Yeah, and
help us work on these problems.
Absolutely, and like you said, the battle is far from over. Less than 1% of the global automotive fleet has been converted to electric, and even maybe less than 0.1% of stationary storage has been done. So stationary storage has barely begun. Converting the global vehicle fleet to electric has barely begun. So there's still a massive amount of engineering work to be done at Tesla and other companies to accelerate this transition to sustainability.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
This is Jordan from Mark Asset Management. So you've talked about the importance of the factory, and you've mentioned the ground-up design process and a lot of the new things that you're going to be doing or started to do in Shanghai,
Dickie
Berlin,
Ball,
and
what's
Austin.
up? Welcome.
Can you just maybe help us understand and quantify like how financially meaningful all of those improvements will be? And then given what you're trying to accomplish as a company, is it fair to assume that the vast majority of improvement will be given back to the customer in the form of lower prices?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly we will try to give back as much as possible to the customers. It's not like, it's not like Tesla's profitability is crazy high. Our average profitability for the last 4 quarters is like maybe 1%. So just to be clear, it's not like, we're minting money. Our valuation makes it seem like we are, but we're not. We do want to try to make the price as competitive as we can without like losing money. And if you lose money, then if you keep losing money, you'll just die. So we have to. This thing called profit is just like we need to bring in more money than we spend, otherwise we're dead.
But affordability is key to how we scale,
Yeah.
right? Like the demand goes nonlinear as you reduce the price of the car.
Yeah, it's important to sort of separate the difference between affordability and value for money, or desirability of the product. So, for a lot of people, they want to buy a Tesla, they simply don't have enough money. We could make the car infinitely
Well,
desirable.
you talking to me?
But if somebody does not have enough money, they can't
Talking
buy
to
it.
me?
Sometimes, people, kind of forget this. It's like,
Bro, you're typing
it's
on a
not-
plastic keyboard right now.
People have to have enough money to buy the car, and just making
Getting
a car
called out for
super
drinking
desirable but
water.
expensive does not.
It's not
mean
like
they
I'm
can afford
drinking
it. So
soda,
It's absolutely
like-
critical that we make.
That's
cars
terrible
that
for
people can actually
sustainability,
afford.
right? All that high fructose corn syrup. That's a terrible thing for our environment and for our
Reverse some of these
bodies.
things,
Call me out for drinking
scroll down or
water?
something.
Bro, that's like
Oh.
nefarious. That's straight evil.
When do you expect Tesla vehicles to beat ICE vehicles on initial purchase price? I think a way to answer that question is, in the classes of vehicles we sell today, we're already doing that.
Yeah, we're already pretty close.
Oh, you're calling out those guys. They have plastic water
And
bottle on
if
their
factoring in
desk. I
total
thought you were
cost of
calling out me.
ownership, And the fact that electric vehicles require
Man,
much
I was
less
on full
servicing,
defense mode right there.
and are way cheaper to run.
I'm like, bro.
When you look at like total cost of ownership, and you can obviously lease
Gotcha,
a car.
Tom.
So
Gotcha,
if you just,
Tom.
like,
You're
lease a
calling them
car
out, not
or,
me.
Or get a loan for a car. You've got your sort of monthly
Like what?
payment, and then your
Yeah,
cost for
I want the planet
either
to do
gasoline
well,
or electricity, and your cost of servicing.
not, like,
and the fully considered cost of
claiming
an
to be
electric car
Elon
is,
Musk over here.
Much less than a gasoline car of the same nominal purchase price.
Ooh, I just realized this has a double.
I mean, that
bubble.
said, in like
double
maybe
bubble.
on the
You
order
see
of,
the
3 years, when we can do
leveler in there. It's also a leveler
a lower
there.
cost, like a $25,000 car.
It's next level bubbles.
I think that will be basically on par, maybe slightly better than a
Guys, you guys almost got you got me fired up there for a second.
So
I thought I was getting called out for
it's on
drinking
the order of
water
3 years
out of a plastic
-ish.
bottle. Like what?
How have the technology advancements and increased vertical integration of battery manufacturing influenced your ability to improve the environmental and social impact of the supply chain? And I think, yeah.
I think we sort of have said that already.
Yeah.
Do we have some ability to scroll through this? Just scroll away.
We covered recycling.
Yeah.
This is so
Let's
different
just
from the
scroll until
Nissan
we've got stuff that we
live
haven't
stream.
covered.
All those questions were like pre-rehearsed,
definitely covered that
practiced
topic.
several
A lot
times.
of these things we've already answered, I think.
Covered that. That one.
Tom is still
I
calling
think
me
we literally
out,
just answered that.
bro.
Yeah. Oh, I saw a cathode
You
durability
gotta
question.
be
Let's
joking.
go to that one.
Gotta be joking.
Go down, go down, go down.
Calling me out, and
Good
Elon
technical
Musk is
question.
drinking out of a plastic bottle.
Keep going.
He's the one
Oh.
claiming,
How are you going to address the
self,
cathode durability and cost of environmental
sustainability and
impact
everything.
trifecta?
I'm over here just streaming, just having
Is this
a good
something
time.
you're going to leave the
getting called out for
environment supply chain to solve?
for
No, I think
providing
we tried
a
to answer
service
that
for you
directly.
guys. Goodness,
we
what is
really
this
are
world
looking
coming to?
at not
What is this
just
world
what
coming
happens in the
to?
cathode facility, but like currently outside the cathode facility that should really be inside, and removing processes that shouldn't have been there in the first place, and the use of reagents that are just costly and not necessary, and removing a bunch of wastewater from the process.
Guys, is there anything you want to add to? Maybe we could go through everyone and maybe say what you're doing and say a few words. I don't know.
Sure. I just want to reiterate the fact that this is a massive problem.
Massive problem.
And it seems like Tesla's on its way and ahead, but we need everybody's help because it's everybody's planet, and we're not going to get to 20 terawatt-hours by ourselves. So please think about this carefully as it affects everybody. So let's get on it.
And obviously, if you care
Jim's
about
in the house.
solving sustainability and
Don't
doing
let the
hardcore
tail
engineering,
wag the dog. I hear
definitely
you,
come
brother.
with Tesla.
Yeah, we went through a couple of the manufacturing improvements, and it kind of looks easy when you put together a nice slide deck, but the challenges are like this. It's super challenging. When you
Producing
take
cars is
materials out of the
extremely
process, when you
destructive in
integrate
itself.
processes together.
Just because they're
you have
producing
to
less
do
emissions
a lot of things
with
at
electric
once,
cars doesn't mean
and that's
they're
like this immense engineering challenge.
a good thing for the environment. They're still terrible
and
for the
so, like,
environment. That's
to appreciate
fact.
that, you need
Still
like,
gonna end
to
up
get
in a
through this, we need,
landfill
like,
someone
the best
someday.
engineers we've got, and we've got this awesome team. I just want to shout out also to all of our team watching. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, you absolutely kicked ass putting this together, and yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tesla team. Totally agree.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Rodney Westmoreland, managing the construction here at Tesla. What I would like to say is, one, shout out to the team. The team has been working effortlessly. A very, very tough project here for 24 hours a day, it seems like, around the clock to have this complete. The thing that sets us apart from a lot of other construction, we have a construction company here. The thing that sets us apart is that we're integrated in the manufacturing process. So every detail that comes from Drew's mouth is directly implicated into the system that we're building. That way, what would typically take 3 or 4 months to create a specification, our design team is working right with the manufacturing team to allow us to speed that process up tremendously. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a important part of the vertically integrated approach is to be able to design the factory around the equipment, in fact, together with the equipment, so that you can build the factory at lower cost and more quickly.
I'm Scott. I focus on cell design. I think it's hard to put into words how inspiring this is. I've been at it for a long time with Tesla, and
yeah,
I really hope others do join us.
Since when, Scott?
Since
That's
2005.
the hope.
Yep,
Yes.
with many of you.
That's the
but
hope.
thank you. You know it. Yeah, year before Drew, but.
Nishi, yeah. Oh, sorry, Rishi, Narang, yeah. I'm struggling right now.
But I'm really
used to
stoked
putting
what
my
the team's
kids
been able to
to
accomplish over
bed
the
right
last
now, so
short period of time, about a year. It's been really
I'm gonna let the
incredible
stream go on,
transformation.
and I'm gonna go
Hopefully what
see
we've
how my
shown
kids
you
are doing.
inspires you to join us
put
or
them to
join
bed.
somebody
If the
else in the
stream's still
effort.
going on by then, I'll come hang out. If not,
I couldn't think of a
I'll just
greater,
close
more
the stream
intelligent,
down.
more
So thanks,
hardworking
guys, for
team
coming
to
out,
work on this
and
problem.
maybe I'll see you in a few minutes after I put my kids to bed. So.
Hi, Peter. I lead the manufacturing improvement team, and I guess the point that I would like to make is manufacturing improvements is like the accelerator. So like you think about the execution that Rodney talked about in terms of how fast we've been able to put together this factory, which is amazing and something that's been really incredible to be a part of. That's not enough. What we need to do is improve the manufacturing technology. That's the real accelerator. And that's what we're really focused on. Elon talks about it all the time, that really going and improving that system is what will enable us to get to the scale and the cost that we need. And then the other point that I would make is on the recruiting side, like it doesn't matter if you know about batteries. If you come from any industry, you can do something fantastic in the work that we're doing. We talk to people from industries that you wouldn't imagine. Like I talked to a guy who makes golf balls, and he has stuff which is really impactful for what we're doing. So, you know, if you're in any industry and you want to be, you know, impactful here, like, come join us. It'd be great.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I'm Tony. I've been working in lithium and cathode materials for almost 23 years now, and this is the most growth I've seen in a company. I've been here a little over a year and a half. We're hiring amazing people that are allowing us to leverage technology that most of the industry is struggling to achieve. So to answer the question, how are we going to do this? We are really advancing the materials manufacturing for cathodes and for lithium beyond what has been accomplished in the previous 20 years.
It's exciting.
Yeah, my name's Turner. Work closely with the team. I've worked a lot with everyone here, and on the cathode and upstream materials side, it's really important that everyone understand that this growth is coming. This growth is real. We are going to make all of these batteries, and everyone needs to grow with us. The entire supply chain needs to grow with us. And if you have an idea that simplifies anything in the supply chain, come talk to us, come work with us, and let's do it.
Any existing specification is wrong. Any existing
That's always
manufacturing
true.
method is wrong. Process equipment, it's wrong. It's just a question of how wrong.
Yes.
Quote
Exactly.
Elon Musk.
Yes, exactly. We're wrong. Just a question of how wrong. Just try to be less wrong.
So tell us how we're wrong and how we could do it better so that we can accelerate and improve as fast as possible.
All right. Well, I guess thank you everyone for coming. I hope you liked the presentation. Very exciting future ahead. We're going to work our damnedest to transition the world to sustainable energy as quickly as possible, and your support and help is key to that success. So thanks again, super appreciated, and look forward to the next event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I think I think I've missed the final countdown there, and there are still some of you. Why are you guys even waiting? Why are you guys even waiting? These are funny. Why would you even be waiting? I've been gone for like 10 minutes. You guys are so funny. But I'm tired, man. That live stream could have been more efficient. I don't know what else to say. It will be in if 25. I mean, Teslas need to get cheaper, and they everything they're showing there is going that direction with their efficiencies, better battery technology. But I feel like it's all like it's nothing anytime soon. Soon in the near future, like the next couple of years. I don't know if we're going to see this affecting prices anytime the next couple of years. It was awkward. It was unprofessional in some ways. But that's what people like about it, you know? They like the human aspect of it. Tesla's a very non-human company. It seems like. I know that sounds silly, but they're very robotic and you know, all about, you know, self-driving and things like that. So Leo's like, you were gone? Thanks for missing me, bro. Yeah, once they can start making cars at sub 30, mid 20s, it's game on. 300 miles of range at $25,000. I feel like that car right there is going to crush. I don't know if it's going. Hardware and Box does want, I mean, YouTube does want me to watch that on the 3080. Like, I've been shown that thumbnail like 30 times and I haven't watched it. I don't care. I don't care that much for the 3080. There's no availability on it. It's not the price that bothers me. It's the lack of VRAM and the lack of availability. I need more VRAM for the type of video editing I do. I max out my 8 gigabytes of VRAM on my 5700 XT every single day, and it's like, oh. But I am building a new computer this fall. That is for shizzle. If you guys have made it this far, goodness gracious, we're 3 hours in. If you haven't pressed the like button, I would appreciate that. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to end this stream. I'm tired. Those beers made me very sleepy too. I'm kind of hungry. I need to figure out what to do with my tripod situation. I got the ball head for the tripod that never came. So, I mean, maybe we can look at, if you guys want to look at tripods with me real quick. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Yeah, but I am looking at tripods, travel tripods. I want something small. I hate big tripods. Something like this might work. Something like that might work. And it's about $140 less expensive than than the tripod that got lost. So, ooh, there's a carbon fiber one. Should I be a sucker for the carbon fiber? This is still $80 cheaper than the tripod that got lost. I'm feeling this one, guys. What do you think? See you, Chosen. See you, Spark. PC build live stream for the tech heads. I actually have thought about that for a long time. I actually am digging this tripod right here. I'm digging it. Well, guys. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The carbon fiber legs on here will match my carbon fiber LFA sitting in my garage, right? Wait, are those feet? Are those feet metal feet? Do you guys see that? See that at the bottom? Those almost look like metal feet. I don't know what to think about that. Shouldn't they be rubber feet? What in the French toast? Yep. I don't know. I'll figure it out, guys. I am tired. I'm tired of talking. Tired of streaming. But I'm not tired of providing videos for you guys. And I have some content that I need to sift through for tomorrow's video. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tesla, man. Tesla. Be interesting. They can provide cheaper cars. Then we all win, right? Everyone wins? I think so. But as long as it's not a cheap car. Does that make sense? Car needs to be less expensive, but we don't want them to cheap out on it. I mean, their cars are already pretty minimal. And their build quality doesn't have the best reputation. So it'll be very interesting. Well, guys, friends, the Luxurious Fleet, thanks for coming out. Zonda, I see you there. Thanks, man. And have a good night. I think I might watch... thanks, Dennis. I think I might watch some basketball. Isn't there the basketball tonight? Let's see here. Lakers and Nuggets. Man. Can't stand the Lakers. Can't stand the Lakers. All right, guys. Have a good night, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Take care of yourselves, and have a nice evening.